So basically what we do is to provide networking opportunities like what you're doing today, to encourage those that are here to study hard and join us out there. We also wish to provide linkages, especially for us that are already in the industry. I'm sure there are those that are interested to get opportunities, internship opportunities, employment opportunities. So we seek to be your brothers, your elder brothers. So please get close to us, including even the speakers that are here today. If there's any that is in your field, it may be interesting to get contacts just to know what is happening there so that immediately finish, then they can give those opportunities to you. Then lastly, what the association is currently doing, we have established a secretariat office. You must know where our secretariat office is. Young as we are, but the office is already operational. Very soon, we'll be rolling out our second call of bursaries to the needy students in this university. So very soon, you'll be seeing adverts on your notice boards for the very needy students. Every person is needy, but we'll be targeting the very needy students. So very soon, for those that have challenges in paying your fees, then the association will want to work with you through this journey. So, but for today, allow us to speak to you about our experiences out there so that we encourage you. We'll be giving a short period of question and answer for those that might have issues that we want addressed by the key speakers. Then we can address the issues. So thank you very much from my side. The association is led by a committee, an executive committee. Most of these executive committee members are people who are employed. We're actually all employed and in business out there. And so all of them were not able to come today, but with me here is Madam Grace, who's the executive secretary. Maybe she can stand and wave. That is one of the officials. The other officials are not with us here today. George is also one of our officials in the executive. But of course, now that I'm here as the chair, then I represent the rest. So very quickly, I want to invite the first speaker. The first speaker is Jacqueline Kihara. Jacqueline Kihara is a former student here who is in the field, the agricultural field. And so I want us to put our hands together to invite Jackie to speak to us. Jackie will have a short presentation. Then maybe we can agree that the question and answer, we can handle it at the end. We have all the speakers speak, then will that be okay? So that we can save time. We have the presentations first, then we can handle the question and answer at the end of it. So let's put our hands together and invite Jacqueline. Karibu sana, Jacqueline.
Good afternoon. As you've heard, I'm Jacqueline Kihara, and I'm a manager at Kakuzi PLC, Alumni 2018 for the field of science. And today we are privileged to come back so that we share some of the experiences that are out there. So to begin with, I'm going to give you a short story of myself with the field, because the reason we are here is to tell you guys what is happening outside there. So when I left TTU in the year 2018, I went out with an open mind and many expectations, just as any other graduate would go with. But I was open to learn, to listen, and to get integrated into the system. So baseline is that where you choose your attachment farms from where you live, you go for your internships. Those people, as you go outside there, go make some good network. I'm saying this because after I left 2018, I went back to my attachment farm. That happens to be Kakuzi PLC, and that is the #1 export for macadamia in Kenya and Africa so far. Not Africa, the second in Africa after South Africa. And things are not easy. Guys, usitoke hapa uende kutafuta kukua manager kesho. Sawa sawa. Go with an open mind. Be ready to start from somewhere. Because where we are going wrong is thinking that after you get your A's, after you get your clean certificate of honors, second upper, people should judge you from that. The market is not looking for papers. Well, papers are important, and the soft skills and the hands-on skills are even more important. So as you work for your papers to be clean now, be open that after the course is over, you are going now to work on your hand-on skills, all right? So nilitoka nikaenda, and Kakuzi was kind enough to take me up, but of course not at the level that I am today. Started at the lowest level, the company head of any other worker as a casual laborer. From there, as you grow and being very open-minded, networking, some years down, there was opportunities. The company is growing, companies are growing, companies need fresh blood. So it's not like it's dark. It's not like ile tulikuwa tunasema wazee wamedominate the fields, okay? So after there, you grow within the company, and of course your hard work, your papers come in handy, but you got to remember that papers is one thing, your skills is another thing, and your attitude towards working and growing is another thing too. So you grow with the company, we have grown with the company, and that is how we are here today. One thing I would like to emphasize on, and I'll single-handedly pick that because for me is what I have learned is self-discipline. There are very many shortcuts, konje, like for maybe ladies, nowadays even for men it is very easy. There are shortcuts that you can get your way to the top. And unto you if you fall prey of such kind of shortcuts. You have to go there, sorry, with your self-discipline, and that is why I'm calling it self-discipline. There's the overall discipline, but self-discipline is the key. Somebody who is very malicious will come and approach you and tell you, I can get you to the top overnight. I can give you this job if only you did this. This is possible if you give me this and that. If you opt for the shortcut, of course, things that come easy go easy. We know that, right? So go there with your morals, uphold them, and most importantly, work hard and pray. Follow the system. The system always gives back. If you today opt to go the short way, afterwards the short outcome is going to be short-lived. So for one, carry yourself with the utmost discipline that is required. Again, on the same, on self-discipline, if you are entrusted to carry out a task, do it the best way you can. Some of us are getting on top there and thinking that you have achieved everything there is to be achieved. But the journey is quite long, and you have to be very careful lest you turn to be arrogant. Most people, when they interact with the systems, the money is there, some soft life, if I may call it that way. But that should not turn you to the person that you're not supposed to be. You have to remain somebody that can be trusted with assignments. Somebody can be entrusted to deliver within the timelines that have been laid. And that calls for a lot of discipline. And that is how, even today, having passed through the university, because of course I have the experience. Some of us are here to just enjoy the time, and then after 4 years you look back and say, utaona ile crowd mlikuwa nayo haiko. So be very disciplined, even as you tackle your academics. Don't follow the crowd. Of course, some of these things don't make sense right now. My lecturer always told us, nawaita class mnakataa kukuja, it will catch up with you. And trust you me, that phrase to date, those of us who took it seriously, you always look back and say, kweli, she had a point, all right? So let not things catch up with you in a very negative way, because you just lacked some, some control over yourself. Because campus really has some good moments to be enjoyed. Friday is some good day for the campus people, but we can do that with limits, because everything has a timeline. 4 years will be gone. What will you have? Are you going to have some second class lower, while those that you are partying with have first classes and second upper? So my message today is uphold self-discipline, even as you enjoy life, because some of these phases you understand have to come along. As you go out there, the world is hot. It is not easy, but it is manageable, okay? You're not going to take your papers today and then tomorrow you are called for a job and then the next day you are a manager. But it is manageable so long as you remember the things that you need to uphold. And that is why today we are proud alumni, and we look forward that TTU is going to give as many as products desirably and competitive in the market. The last thing, and it's not the least, nobody should underestimate the power or the input that TTU is giving to you. Do not compare yourself to JKUAT. It is not about the school that you schooled in. It is not about the names. It is about the personnel. Maybe some of us tulikuja ile wakati TTU didn't have a name, and maybe even right now guys think it doesn't have a name. But trust you me, no employer is going to consider whether you came from TTU, or you came from KU, or from any other school. So do what you need to do, because everything has a timeline. After 4 years, you'll be out. You know, go telling an employer, I didn't pass because I was in Taita Taveta University and somebody else was in Jomo Kenyatta University. So it's high time, if your attitude has not been the right attitude, set yourself to the right attitude, achieve what you have to achieve, do what you need to do in the timeline of 4 years, because after 4 years, you are out of this place. You should ask yourself whether you're going to come back as an alumni, ama utaenda huko lamenting, I was in TTU. Because people are getting it wrong, that we need the names. It's no longer about the brand. You make the brand out of yourself. Sawa sawa. So this afternoon, I am proud to say that we are proud ambassadors of Taita Taveta University, and we have not at any time felt any less that we came from TTU. In any case, people are looking upon us, people are looking up to us to deliver. So this afternoon, I want to just pass the message that with the right attitude, with self-discipline and good aspiration, work on your papers, the world is going to integrate you into it. But you miss a step in these 4 years, then we will have a reason to hear from you ukituambia ulisomea TTU. And we are not going to excuse you, because you have been given equal time just as everybody else in other universities has been given. Ladies and gentlemen, there is hope. Nobody should tell you there's no work. Work is there, we just have to have the right minds. Okay? So having said that, I wish to end it there and maybe give it back to the coordinator. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's give a good hand clap for that. Asante sana, Jackie. I picked some quick points for those that were writing. One is self-discipline. Then Jackie has helped us understand that it's a process. It's a process. It's not an overnight thing that you want to be an MD or a CEO in one night. And I think that's where most of us get frustrated. You clear campus today and the next day you want to drive a Range Rover. It is not possible. It's a process. So learn the process. Then trustworthy, that's what the industry wants outside there, that you should be a person that can be trusted. Even for the small responsibilities that you're given, be a person that is trustworthy. For those that are Christians and even Muslims, you understand that you're given, there's that story where somebody was given a talent. One was given 1, another 2, another 5, if I quoted it right. And you know what happened to the fool who went burying the talent? So be a person that can be trusted. Then the issue of the attitude is something that has come out clear. I'm just trying to just to bring to attention what she's talked about. Your attitude has to be right, especially attitude towards work, even your attitude in school. You have a wrong attitude, you can't go anywhere. So get your attitude right. Then she finished by saying that make a brand of yourself. So build a brand of yourself. Thank you so much. Tupige makofi mengine mazuri. That is what personally I picked from her presentation. Now, I want us to bring the second presenter. The second presenter is Dr. Samuel Mwenda. He's a senior statistician, Kenya Bureau of Statistics. He graduated with mathematics and computer science. Interesting enough, I was reminding him today that he was my roommate in Mwangeka. Was it first floor? First floor. The room I can't remember, around first floor. Okay, so I'm privileged to have Sami with us. It's quite interesting from Sami, maybe before he comes, that 2011 is when you graduated, and now has a PhD. So it speaks so much to ourselves. And so it tells you that it can be done. And I think Sami will be telling you how his journey to his PhD was. I'm also in my tail end of my PhD, and it's not an easy journey. So just to encourage you that, guys, it can be done. So let's put our hands together and invite Dr. Samuel Mwenda. Tuweke makofi, tumkaribishe Samuel Mwenda. Karibu sana, Sami.
Thank you. It's an honor to be back. It's after 11 years. So for maybe those we haven't, anybody who has seen my face before? Anybody who has seen my face before? Oh, okay. Thank you. And thank you, Chair. And thanks also to all the participants. I have a lot of good things about this precious university. And it's a story, of course, that stretches back a long time ago. It's around 2008, 2009. Apparently today, as I was moving around, I visited a team that was doing practice for the cultural dance, or the cultural, I think this is a cultural week. And I think they should be presenting their dance tonight. They were dancing very well. There were some kissy dancers there. So I was just interested, and I talked to one of the persons there. So I told the person that I'm an alumni of this university. So I asked her, which year are you in? So she said, I'm in second year. So I asked her, okay, in 2008, where were you? So she told me she was in class 6 or class 2, I don't know. So that tells a lot that I'm growing old and I need to go and get my retirement now, because if people who are in class 2, when I was in the university, are already in the university, then I think, Chair, I need to now retire officially and go to the village and maybe start farming. And so I'm happy to be here. Like I've said, my name is Ngugi Mwenda, or Samuel. You can call me Samuel if you want to call me Samuel. If you want to make it more fancy, I was telling the chair, if you want to make it more fancy, you can call me Dr. Ngugi. And I'm glad to be here. I'm a former alumni of this university. And I want to start this talk today by referring to the words of the great Chinua Achebe, who said that when a rich man is sick, the poor man has to pass by his house to tell him sorry for getting sick. But then when a poor man is sick, he has to wait until he gets well so that he can go to the rich man and tell him that he was sick. So why am I saying this? The reason I'm saying this is because we are fighting a common enemy. There is nothing that glorifies in poverty. And the main reason, of course, why we are here is because all of us want to get some knowledge. And this knowledge, you are expecting that it will help you or it will contribute towards kind of elimination of poverty. Because if you ask most of the people here who are studying what they want to be, they tell you, of course, when I finish university, I want to get a job. Then why are we getting a job? Of course, you're getting a job so that you can be paid. Then when you be paid, of course, you are maybe to get yourself maybe a car, or get yourself a land somewhere, get yourself a building somewhere. So all of us, we have been brought together by education, fighting a common enemy. Now, this enemy is called poverty. And that's the main reason why we are here. So as I kind of talk through this motivation talk, I would like to kind of highlight maybe several areas, or several points, or several ideas which can help us in one way or the other to move from where we are and look at the world in a bigger picture. Because we have problems of employment, and that is the problem that is facing most of us today. And nobody wants to hear that they'll not finish and get a job. But then what happens when that job is not forthcoming? What happens when you can't get this job in your kind of dream company? So that's the reason actually why we are here. So I want to begin this talk by briefly talking about myself. When we got a call to come and speak to the students, of course the most important thing as an alumni is to provide a real case scenario or a good example of we were here, we left here, and now we have come back here. So what value have we added, or how have we been able to survive? So I think it would be unfair for me to kind of give this talk without talking about myself. So I want to talk about myself by, first of all, talking about what I currently do. And then I'm going to kind of take you through a history of what made me to be here and what have I done to be where I am today. So like Richard said, I work for the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. I've been a statistician for the whole of my life. Thank God what I studied is what I do on my day-to-day basis, or I do in my office. Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is that agency that conducts censuses and surveys. And there was someone who was asking me, when you guys do census, because census is done in 10 years, so he was asking, now, between the 10 years, what else do you do? Because, of course, everybody knows that census is done after every 10 years. So they ask, okay, what do you do between those 2 years? So we have a lot that we do. And we conduct surveys and censuses on different areas. That is in population for population census. That's the housing and population census, and we also do the agricultural census, whereby we count all the animals which are owned by households. And after that, we also do the publication of those reports, and also do surveys. And after doing the surveys, we also publish. The report. So for those who are interested, if you're a statistician or you're in IT, you can check our website. That is www.knbs.or.ke. So basically, that's what we do, dealing with the censuses and surveys. So what do I do when I wake up? Someone asked me, what do you do when you wake up? So I really found it very difficult to answer that question. Because for her, when she wakes up, of course, she comes and she'll teach. Once she teaches, she goes home and attend Senate meetings and do other things, like maybe taking students for trips. So she was asking me, now, Sam, when you wake up, what do you do? So I was like, okay, when I wake up, I wash my face, first of all, on a daily basis. So I have to do this for a daily basis, year in, year out. But basically, that's exactly what we do. So I started practicing around 11 years ago. That's from around 2012, and have been doing that, process of analyzing data for the last 11 years. First of all, I wanted to confess that, when I was told I need to come and speak here, well, I didn't know the other speakers. And, when I called the person who was organizing and I asked him, okay, who are the other speakers? So she told me, there is a lady called Helen. Ask Helen. Which Helen? Helen Monene. I say, okay. Helen Monene, how can I share a platform with such a powerful person and I'm not even aware? So all I'm trying to tell you is that the one who comes after me, I'm here preparing a way. The one who comes after me has a better message. So please don't leave after I'm done with my part, because I'm just preparing a way. Because the person who comes after me, she's carrying some really good and interesting things. So I usually say that I'm a bit fortunate to have studied in 4 different public universities. And the most interesting thing is Taita Taveta gave me the foundations that I have today. What I mean is that if I didn't pass through this institution, then I could not be the person I am today. So I began by doing a BSc in Mathematics and Computer Science at this university where you are. Let me see those who are doing Maths and Comp here. Let me see. Oh, wow, fantastic. I can see we are several of us. So I did Mathematics and Computer Science from this university. And then after I finished and graduated, I also did a master's in applied statistics. So I moved from Taita, and then I went to JKUAT. Well, while I was still here, this was still part of JKUAT campus. But the reason why I'm speaking about this university as a standalone, because the faculty who taught us are still the faculty who are teaching you. So it's just the name that changed. It's just the name that changed. But the content that you are receiving here is the same content that we received those many years ago. So this is a university that has made me the person I am today. The challenges that you are going through are the same challenges we went through. But you guys are even lucky because I asked around and I was not told. Is anybody here who has met with snakes? Let me see. Any snakes around? Oh, these things have changed. I think it's good to appreciate the university. I think things have changed. I think during our times, it was still a forest, and there were animals, there were snakes all over. When it used to rain, the flies would just fill the rooms. And I didn't think we had all these fancy hall, decorated like this. This was done much later. By the time we were moving in here, this hall was not even in use. So interesting on the progress that the university has done, and interesting also on the caliber or on the products of the students the university is still releasing. So after I moved here, I did my first master's in applied statistics from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. That was the mother of this university. So, and then after that, I attended the University of Nairobi. I did a Master's of Science in Health Economics. Then after that, I decided I needed to test something different. So I went to Moi University and did my PhD in biostatistics. So that's why I'm saying I'm a bit fortunate. I've schooled in 4 different public universities. But the good thing is the foundations that you get, the only way to survive out there is taking care of the foundations that you get here. Because this is a place that you are being built to face more harsh conditions outside there. Like today we had a discussion in the morning of this gentleman who was portraying his degree certificate in electrical engineering from the University of Nairobi. And he was saying he's fed up, so he needed to tell the university. You see, the advantage of your training, or the advantage that we have here, you have already faced harsh climate conditions, maybe harsh human conditions, and so the spirit of giving up is not in you. And that's very, very important. Because in as much as we are saying there are no jobs out there, I've not met a person from Taita who wanted to burn his certificate simply because they could not secure a job in the time that they thought they'll secure the job. So this place has built me the person I am today. And this is the right place that can build you for success outside there. When you get outside there, they call it outside there. Are we together? So the conditions may not be as good as maybe we expected, but you have an advantage when you get out there because you have already faced far much worse conditions. So, having told you what I do, I want just to go straight to the talk. And I just want to talk to us today on a subtopic, I'll call it, the process of not giving up. The process of not giving up. That is my subtopic today. So today I'm going to kind of speak about some of the real life scenarios which we'll have to pass through, or which I personally have passed through to get to the place I am today. So I think this talk will not be complete if I don't discuss about my own personal experience. So I want to start with my own personal experience. Well, I was born in 18th June in the year of the Lord. Do you know the year of the Lord? So, when I was born, That time when I was born, my mother was still in college, so she was studying to be a nursery school teacher. Now, my mother could not leave school so that she can take care of me. So what happened? For those who were born the other day, for us who were born in those years, the year of the Lord, when your mother could not take care of you, the easiest place that they were supposed to take you was to your maternal grandparents to take care of you. So I was moved to my maternal grandparents at the age of around 5 months. So that's how I found myself being taken care of by my grandparents. And so the process of hardening started there, and I started, of course, growing up like any other normal kid. But, just the other day when I was studying nutrition, I came to understand where my problem for weight came from. Because basically a child is supposed to breastfeed for how long? Do we have mothers here? Let me see. Any mother here? Apart from the ones who are seated here. Any mother here? Oh, you are a father? Okay. So how long is the guy below, not the one in yellow, how are you? What's your name? Edwin. Are you a father? Oh, not yet. So you don't know how long a child is supposed to breastfeed. Are you aware? How long? How many? 6 years. 6 months. Are you serious? 6 years. Yes? Let me hear. Yeah, how many? How long? Yes. 3 years. Okay, oh, you don't know. Okay, I will tell you. Don't worry. Today you have an opportunity of knowing things you will know when you become a father. So please. Yeah, so of course, well, a child is supposed to breastfeed exclusively for at least 6 months. And then after 6 months, they continue breastfeeding until they are 2 years. So I didn't realize that's where my problem with weight actually came in. So I know I am underweight, but it is something I'm still working on. So, but now you know the genesis of my problem, where it all began. But that's not even the story. So here I am. I'm at my grandfather's. Of course, I'm growing up like any other child. And then a time came that I needed to go to school now. So my mother was already stable, so I moved to stay with my mother and my father in the slums of Kayole. So if you've been to Kayole, you know what I'm talking about. But all of you look like you come from Karen. Or where do you come from? Is there anybody here who is coming from the ghettos? Let me see. I am alone here. Yeah, so we moved to the ghettos, and that's where I was raised up. Of course, we were raised in all these abject poverty, and affording food was a problem. The living conditions were not very good. And one of the things I remember from my own story is a time when we have to choose between, buying sugar and buying vegetables. So nobody can relate here where the two events are coming in, because those are two independent events. Sugar and vegetables are two independent events. Because there's nowhere they are coming in. There's nowhere they are marrying each other. But on that instance, I remember my mother will choose to buy sugar because for sugar, she will prepare tea with the sugar, and then she'll cook ugali. There's a way she used to fry it, and then it was so tasty, I can even taste it up to date. That was a beauty. Poverty will make things beautiful. So it was a life of struggle. So I schooled, I finished my class 8. So on my first attempt, for my KCPE, I couldn't make below, I couldn't make past half the mark. So half the mark those days was 350. You know, you people, you just found KCP is now 500 marks. I think we're the first people who started the CBC, you know, before it is CBC right now. Because we used to do like, I think 12 subjects. So there was geography, history, civics, there was art, craft, music. So we started the process of CBC, you know, a longer time, you know. It has just been introduced today. No wonder the good book says that there is nothing new under the sun. What was there, what we are seeing right now has always been there. So I think we were the first, we were the first people who started CBC. So since I could not secure a place at any good high school, then I had to resit my KCP again. So this time round, when I resat my KCP again, they had an issue, and the issue was, those days, if you do your KCP using some given names, if you repeat the KCP, then the Magoha of those days, of course, will know that you have repeated and they are going to penalize you. So it came a time I needed to change my name. So I had to adapt to a new name now. My grandfather is the one who is called Mwenda, so that's the person I'm named after. But now I had to change my names from my father's name to my grandfather's name so that I could not be penalized when it comes to the marking of that exam that year. And so by good God's chance or by good grace, I managed to excel that year, and I got marks that could take me to high school. So I joined high school still in the year of the Lord, and I started schooling like any normal kid. But then unfortunately, there were no funds to assist me to, go on with my high school. So on the first semester, some little money was paid, but now from second term, that term, no money is being paid. So I remember there was this time I was chased out of school, and I went home for around 2 weeks. So in the second week, I realized there was no money which was forthcoming, and if there was no money that was actually forthcoming, then I had to find a way of, moving, even if it means to a day school, to at least finish my education. So there's this time I'm at home, it's 2 weeks, so I have to find a way of, making it up or compensating for the time I've lost. So I couldn't go back to the school again because the fees was so humongous. It was huge. There were no funds to pay these fees. So I got a time I left home and I went to the school. And after I went to the school, of course, I spoke my case, and after speaking my case, they accepted me back, and I schooled, and I cleared my high school well. But then another problem was awaiting me. In those days, for those who are not aware, there was something we used to call the cluster waiting points. So I have cleared my school, I've done my KCSE, I have succeeded. I had a B plus of around 67 points those days, which really looked like a big deal. But of course, these days I know it's not a big deal. So unfortunately, the government were limiting the number of students who are supposed to attend the university. I think they had limited them to around a maximum of between 10 and 13,000. So when they were doing their admissions, I was not lucky to be admitted for any course. So there I was with my grades, which I thought were pretty good, but then I could not be admitted to any course because I had not met the minimum requirements. So that year, the government raised the cutoff points to B plus of 69 points. So I could not come to the university, or I could not join any university. So what I did, I decided now, because I have not joined the university, or I cannot join the university, since I still have a bright future, so what I decided is, I'm going to go to these construction sites, and then I'm going to work there, and then I'm going to save money. Then the money that I'm going to get, I'm actually going to pay my school fees again in a school I had already chosen. I had chosen Muranga High School. So I decided I'm going to raise money for 1 or 2 years, then I'm going to go back to Form 3 and start my education there. Because back in my mind, I wanted to excel, and I knew the sky was not just the limit. So, like I usually say, my life is miraculous, and I cannot speak about my life without mentioning God. So now, just by chance, or by miracles, that year, the government said that they wanted to expand the higher education. So I want to tell you how I found myself here by purely chance, and now I'm the person I am today. So the government decided they are going to expand the number of people who are attending universities. But now, unfortunately, they didn't have facilities that could host people, or the facilities are the big seven, as we used to call them, the big seven. They could not be able to accommodate any more numbers. So there was a call to expand the number of public universities in the country. So some colleges were identified, and among them, of course, this facility was identified as one of those facilities that was supposed to start offering higher education. And that's exactly how I found myself in this good university. So by that time, the facility was now to be managed by the Big Seven. So from the management of the Big Seven, this facility was given to JKUAT because, of course, you need a charter to start offering a degree or master's courses as a standalone university. So we were still under the management of JKUAT. And that's exactly how I found myself in this good university. And that's how I now came, and I was given a course I had never selected. So I was wondering, when I got the letter to join the university, I saw this called Maths and Computer Science, and in my life I had never selected this course. That's why I usually say I became a mathematician by pure chance. Well, maybe some of you chose the courses that you are doing today, but for a person like me, I became a mathematician purely by chance. So here I was again. I came here, and the conditions were not very good. We found Kina Richard had already joined, although they were a year behind us, because for us we had to go through the main campus. We had to go through JKUAT main campus before we came here. So by the time we were coming here, of course, we found Kina Richard. They were the 2012 group. They had already started their courses here around 2009 while we were doing our long holidays. They had already started their course. So here we were joining an institution which was not very good. Their structures were not very good. I remember the hostels were not even enough. The number of the hostels were not enough. We were even forced to share Mekatilili. There were some down rooms which were for boys, and then the upper rooms which were for girls. So the things were a bit tough here, and we had to find ways of navigating and studying. But luckily, we had very good, committed lecturers, which I think is the case today. And that commitment has made us to be the people that we are. So on completing a bachelor's or my bachelor's degree, now the long process of starting looking for work started there. Because they say, you now unafanya kazi ya kutafuta kazi. So we started hustling, and interesting, I want to remind Helen, there is, we used to move in Mombasa Road with the CVs. So we used to, write the introduction letter, but top there, of course, you just write one headline to the HR manager. But now the company, you leave blank, then you have a pen. Then when you get to that organization, you write now there, if it's KCB, so you write KCB. Then you get in there, you get there, you go drop, drop the application and then leave. Of course, they'll tell you they'll call you. So I decided that I'm not going to give up on applying for jobs. I'm going to apply until the Lord tells me, now please stop. And then you see on the process of those applications, there's a friend of mine who told me that, he applied for so many jobs, and the reason he gave up is when he found his CV ndo ilikuwa imefunga njugu. You drop a CV somewhere in an organization, then you leave 1 week later, unaenda kununua njugu kwa hoka. So kisha kula njugu, kisha maliza and you check, you realize that it's actually your CV that ilikuwa imefunga njugu. So there were a lot of rooms and there were a lot of forces that could tell you kind of give up. But then that giving up was personally not in my DNA. And then you see something discouraging is, you're there, you're looking for a job, and then you are not getting anything. But then you see your friends, they're in Facebook, they are posting all over. They have been hired by Equity, they have been hired by KCB, they have been hired by all these major banks. And then you start wondering, okay, now what did I do wrong? Or which course did I do? Is this that is not, in quotes, marketable course? There's nothing like an unmarketable course. Because you have people, in different courses who are working in different, maybe you did a different course, but you're working in a completely different field. So there we were, looking for a job, and nothing is forthcoming. A year ends, nothing is forthcoming. And then, of course, we were serving in the Christian Union, and then, of course, people are expecting the Lord to intervene on your behalf very fast. So I remember there is a guy, he had gotten a job, and he was one of my good friends. So he called me and he told me, you know what? I think you did something wrong. I think you need some spiritual checkups. Those are the words that he used. You need some spiritual checkups to kind of find out, what did you do wrong? The reason why you don't have a job. But I think one thing I learned from that is that it's always good not to give up. It's always good not to give up, irrespective of the circumstance, because unless you are very fortunate, you may not kind of instantly get, that job that you really think you want to do, unless you are very fortunate. But then the good thing is, even in that process or in that midst, then you should not kind of give up. If it's applying, you make sure that you apply. If it's searching, if it's knocking those doors, then you need to make sure that you are actually knocking on those doors. But then, fortunately, of course, I finally got a place. And the good thing was, when I got a place, I was able to compensate for the time that I had lost. And this is actually what happened. One of the dailies, they said that they want to hire statisticians. And they listed my course as one of them. And so, like a good Kenyan, I decided to apply for the jobs. So unfortunately, they only wanted 11 people. So when we were applying, I later came to hear the story that we applied around 2,000 people, and they only needed 11 people. So of course we went through the thorough process of interviews, and the good thing, or just by chance, which will come important as I finish my talk. I'll talk about it. Of having a skill, or basically, studying that which is needed, or studying that which you think is not necessary but is needed outside there. And of course, I was hired, and after being hired, I have been in the same institution, that is a Bureau of Statistics for for all those years. So there are some key things I've been able to draw from that process, or that hard process. And some of the key things I would like to highlight to you, maybe as a parting shot, or as some points you can kind of consider when you are in this university, and maybe after you leave this university. And one of the things I've realized is that in my whole process, or in my whole grinding process, or in my whole, in my journey to becoming the person I am, I've realized that it's always good to have true friends. So true friends will come in handy. It's good to have many friends, but then true friends comes in handy, especially when you're in that process of seeking for a job. And I want to mention this, and I'll give the importance of these. First of all, when I was leaving the university, I think I had some two very good friends. One of them, of course, was Helen, who is seated here, and another one is called Macau. I talked to him today. I told him I'm in university. He was, one of my he was my roommate, together with Richard here before we fired him from our room because he was not a member of JKUSO. I was fortunate. I was a student leader. I was the academic secretary those years. And so your chair here, came begging. He doesn't have a place to stay. So I was a refugee. So he was looking, pitiful. So he told me, what, we're going to host you here, but after some few days, we are going to kick you out because you cannot enjoy university privileges and you're not a student leader. So, Chair, I want to apologize. We kicked you out, but that's now in the past. Learn to forgive us. Forgive our sins, former and future sins. Now, me and that my best friend. So I'm talking about that my best friend and the struggles we went through together, of course. So this guy, he's called Macau. And Macau, we lived with him in Mongeka. That is, I think, he was reminding me today's room, either 39 or 36, I can't remember quite well. But these are the guys who come in handy, because the guy was in business. So he was doing this printing and photocopying. And then I was here, I was the academic secretary. And then another fortunate thing, I used to move around schools giving motivational speaks. And when I was giving my speeches, I had written a book while I was in first or second year. So I used to move around, and I would sell the book and give the book to the students around this university. So that takes me to another point. While you are here, don't just sit here and just study. At least try to do something that is a bit different. So I remember we used to go to high schools and give talks. After giving talks, you sell the books. After selling the books, of course, you make some little money here and there. So I remember I used to move. I think I've moved most schools, in this county than maybe any other person who was or who is to come. Because the places I mentioned, I know some of you are not even aware. The school I went in, a place called Mgange. It's on top of the mountains, top past Undanyi. I think maybe the farthest some of you have gone is Motate, or maybe Undanyi for church or for another activity. So as I talk about having true or good friends, You see, it is Helen who you moved around with, looking for job. And there's a story I've never told you. You see, one day, you were so broke. Helen was also broke. Helen, are you still broke? Well, maybe the Lord has rescued her from poverty. So we were so broke. So broke meant that, we had to move from office to office by foot to just drop the CVs. Now, after dropping the CVs, we didn't have money to eat. That was one of the most unfortunate things. And I remember one time we entered a lift and ikakimbia mbio kuliko vile nafaa kukimbia. So me, I started feeling English, kizunguzungu. Well, I didn't know it was because of hunger. So I told Monene, now me and lifts, we are not very good friends. Now it's you who will be getting into the lift to take our CVs up there, because normally the HR offices are up there. So the lift took me very fast and I had not eaten. So I started feeling kizunguzungu. But you see, I had a good friend who was able to stand on the gap and make sure that the CVs were delivered to the right office. And then there's this other friend called Macau. I think from what I've explained, you can tell the kind of background I'm coming from. So those days, when we were invited to go for an interview, of course, we needed to dress decently. Unfortunately, I could not afford a suit, to attend the interview. Now, to make matters not very good, Macau was a little bigger than me. And of course, you see, his suits are much bigger than me. So when I put on his suit, mabega ya koti inalala hapa. Inakaa nikaa iko kwa hanger. Have you ever seen a suit in a hanger? So that guy, I'll leave my house, go to town, borrow his suit, borrow his shoes, and then go for an interview. Then when I finish the interview, I come back to town, I give him back, I give him back his clothes. I know he's a good guy, as at least he really came in for me. But you may really need those true and good friends. And as I talk about true and good friends, I want to talk about a guy I really admire. And this is what true friends can do to you. So there is a guy I really admire, and he's called Thomas Baez. So Thomas Baez was born in the year 1702, and he died in around 1761. So he died when he was 59 years old. So Thomas Baez was a child of a reverend, and in his whole life, he published 2 books. He published 2 papers, one on theology, and he published another paper on probability, that is on the doctrine of chances. So Thomas Baez, of course, was initiated into the Royal Statistical Society while he was 40 years old. Yet actually none of his work was published. So while trying to find out the inspiration of Thomas Baez, for those who are doing statistics or for those who are doing IT, you've heard about the Bayes theorem. So if you're doing that, I want you to go and check on the Bayes theorem. Because the theorem is named after Bayes, but he's not the person who published the theory. So while trying to scan through what inspired Thomas Bayes, I realized in him, or for him, he was actually inspired by the scriptures. And of course, one of the scriptures that was inspiring Bayes is the issue of the person who was told, where the good book says that a foolish man who built on the sand, then when the rains came, the house was carried away. And then it says that that is the good books of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 27. It says, and the rain came down, and the streams rose, and the winds blew, and bet against that house, and it fell with a great cash. So according to him, he used to have this analogy that you can use the history to inform the future. So Thomas came up with that principle that you can actually use history to inform the future. And today we have the theorem called the bias theorem. And the good thing with this story is it's actually not Bias who published his work. It's a guy called Prince who published his work. But then Prince was the best friend of Thomas. So while Thomas was not there, then Prince is a person who actually published the works of Bias. So that is a good thing of kind of having a good friendship, or having a person that you can rely on, or someone you can call up to. Because with these, you can't be just actually go alone. So something else that I thought will be important for this, for this talk is actually networking. Networking is very, very important. And you see, what some of us lacked while at the university is we didn't know where to network or who to network with. So I've actually did some little research, and I came up with some nice sites which I think can be important for you, especially when you are living here. Especially for those people who want to go and expand, or want to go and further education. So before you leave this university, I think it's always good to check good sites. And some of the universities which you can easily get scholarships to go and study, some of them, of course, include the Hasselt University. You can be checking the website. Then there is the University of Antwerp. Then there is also the KU Leuven. So these are some of the universities which I would really recommend you keep on checking the website, because they easily, offer the scholarships for people to go and study. That is, if you want to be an academician or you want to further education, those are some of the areas that you can go and check. Then there are some other sites which are very good, which can give you a grant to present a paper, or also give you a grant to attend a conference, or give you a grant to study for your master's or your PhD. And some of these sites are like the ARUA, that is African Research University Alliances. It's a very good site, especially for those who are doing economics, or you're doing mathematics, and you think you have a paper to go and present, then that's a good site to go and check. And also the DAAD, you know the DAAD, that's the Germany. They also have a very kind and very good scholarships. Now, just to be a little bit biased to those people who are studying mathematics and computer science, then it's really important for you to have a software at least you understand. Because these organizations these days, they are not just looking for papers. I think it's only the government that cares about papers. But I think for the other organization, and government employs the least percentage in the whole sector compared to the private sector. So some softwares which can easily help you secure a place will include maybe the Python or the R. And for those who want to work for the World Bank, you may need to look at, there's a very nice software called Starter. And if you want to go to UNICEF, of course, you need to check out on their SPSS. Now, why am I talking about this? The reason I'm talk this is because there are some mistakes that we did we think you're not supposed to do as you exit this great university. And one of the mistakes that I personally did, and why I think I found myself in a very hard and difficult place, was I chose not to do a project when it came to doing a project for my 4th year. So I want to encourage those who are doing maths and computer, don't choose the 2 units which are given as an alternative. Please make sure at least you do a project, and you can't do a project without using one of those softwares. So By the time you are leaving this university, you are well acquainted with one of the softwares. So if you are given an opportunity of working or demonstrating your skills, then you have more advantage if you are able to show that you have been able to use one of those softwares. Finally, as I conclude, it's always good to kind of seek internships and of course attachment. But when you live here, you're looking more of an internship. So I encourage you, even if it's not paid internship, it's important to sit kind of under a mentor, even if they are not paying you. Actually, this paid off, because I remember before I was hired by the Bureau of Statistics, there's a guy who is called Philip Okul who called me for a small gig in quotes, but it was kind of an internship. And this is a person who trained me on how to use one of the softwares, that was SPSS. So I had this advantage that I interacted with the data and a software before I was called for an interview to go and attend. So by the time I was attending the interview, at least I had my skills. I had my skills with me. So in the role, I was not being paid a lot. It was just a little stipend. But now when I got an opportunity of showcasing what I know, then I was able to kind of get a good offer. The other point is that you make sure by the time you are living here, unless you are going to business, you are willing to further your education. But then there's also not nothing bad in having a CEO or having a businessman who has a PhD. I've always talked to my friends and, they told me, me, I just want to be a mom, so I don't want to further my education. So I asked them, okay, what's wrong with being called Dr. Mom? Is there anything wrong with that? So there is nothing wrong with that. So if you can further your education, then that will be very, very important. Now, lastly, I think it's also good to always check on the best sites that are hiring for your department. I don't want to be so biased, but as a researcher, of course, I've checked some of the sites that hire statisticians, or they hire the IT people, or they hire the economics people, and some of these like include the World Bank, the UNICEF, the FAO, and some very nice international organizations like the AU, the AFDB, the East African Community. So these are the people, or these are the organizations which actually hire more frequently in these fields. So as I conclude, I want to conclude this topic, or I want to conclude this talk today by basically quoting the words of the person I like so much, and his name is Chinua Achebe. And Chinua Achebe said that, you see, unless the lions find their own historians, then the history of the jungle will always glorify the hunter. And I think these are the words I have for us today, that unless the Taita Taveta University find their own historians through the alumni, to come and tell you that you can study here and it is possible, then the history of success out there will always glorify the Big Seven. So I think we need to be good advocates of our university. We need to study and work hard, and then we need to go and showcase exactly what we are made up of. So I want to conclude my talk there and say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I'm glad to see you. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. You can do better than that. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam. I think takeaway points. One is have two friends. Have two friends. Sam has reminded me. I think this happens to everybody. I had a good friend that we schooled here, who you were in the same year, IT. This guy, when we finished school, when he finished here, he held my hand. My experience was quite different from yours, but almost the same like yours. We hustled in Mombasa For those that know Coast well, know of a place called Likoni. Likoni is a slummish area, a bigger part of it. So this guy offered to put me in their home, zile nyumba za Kiswahili, because the dad had built those houses many years ago. So I remember we also did the same thing, hiyo ya kuprint CV and application letter. I think that's a strategy that you can try and employ, because it seems it has been used by most of us. Unacha pale juu blank, ukienda mahali unajaza, alafu you drop. Na sangine unacha kwa watchman kwa gate, because there are places you could not be allowed to get in. So unachia watchman, wherever it will go, inafika huko. And then maisha ikawa ngumu zaidi. Sasa ikabidi I print some t-shirts, so that as I go, I sell t-shirts as I look for a job. So I'd written some gospel, some Bible verse. Sasa nauza t-shirt. Bei ya t-shirt inalingana na sura yako. Nikipata mwingine namuzia 200, mwingine 500 shillings. I remember I went to a showroom ya Muhindi in Mombasa. This Muhindi loved my aggressiveness. Akaniambia sina kazi ya kupatia, but I will buy your t-shirts. I'm not a Christian. I don't read the Bible, but I will buy these t-shirts and give my workers. He bought 10 t-shirts from me. Akapatia wale vianake wa kazi. That will help me buy supper and print more papers to give out until the day when I got a job. So good people, you're very lucky to get some of this. I wish this hall was full for you to hear this. Unajua tukiwa hapa shuleni huwa tunadanganyana sana. Mwingine anakuambia mimi niko na mjomba wangu kwa Kenya Port. There used to be that nonsense. Please don't take these things serious. Mtu anakuambia mimi niko na mjomba wangu kwa port, Kenya Power. Nikimaliza shule, he will employ me. Wait until you finish school. You'll call your mjomba and will not pick your call. These talks will help you. Another one that I learned is networking, then seek internships, further your education, check on the best sites that are hiring, and of course, be an advocate of this university. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam, for speaking to us. I want to bring the last speaker so that we have more time for question and answer. The last speaker is Ms. Helen Nene. She had a Bachelor of Purchasing and Supplies Management. I think she'll speak too much about herself when she comes. I want us to put our hands together and invite our sister Helen. Karibu sana Helen. Tumpigie Helen makofi anavyokuja. And I think it's quite encouraging for the ladies that are here to see that ladies can go to school and can be powerful. So let's listen to Helen. Karibu sana Helen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I know you've sat for an hour plus, probably stand. We're going to do a very small exercise. I normally do that exercise every time I come to Taita Taveta University College. So kindly stand. I'm going to teach you a song. And I know it is lunchtime, it's the afternoon. This is Voi. The temperature a bit high, so we are tempted to sleep. Is it that? So I want to turn to your neighbor. Just have a partner, and tell them, it's a Sunday school song. It says, Yesu akupenda, Yesu akupenda, Yesu akupenda, Yesu akupenda. And then you say, when we say hallelujah, you clap. Yesu akupenda. Sawa sawa? Yeah. Musikize, sikwangi mzuri na kuimba, but I will try. I just want us to do, it's like an exercise. So, Yesu akupenda, Yesu akupenda. Turn to your neighbor. Kupenda, Yesu akupenda. Hallelujah. Yesu akupenda. Those hands, hallelujah. Okay, you can have a seat. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor and privilege to be back in this campus. I call it home. I was here 11 years ago, Yes, I'm that young. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank the leadership of the Alumni Association for inviting us here. And also for you, because you've sacrificed your time. This is your time. You've seated there. Your effort, and also, you are thinking through. And I hope from my brother and sister, you've been able to learn something. When Sam was sharing, he took me back then, those years. And I appreciate the fact that God has brought us. I will not preach. I do preach, but I will not preach. I love teaching people, because I believe that teaching is the best thing that you can ever do. It enables you to have knowledge, and above knowledge, an understanding of something. So, yeah, as you've heard, my name is Helen Munene. Munene is my father's name. Yeah, so I was here I left here in 2011. I did procurement, as you've heard. But now my life is a bit different. I hope someone will be encouraged. We've gone through it all. And I know someone seated here, you might relate, because I know some of us have related with my sister's story and my brother Sam. So for me, what I studied is not what I ended up doing. I'm not like Sam. So I did procurement, and after here, I really hustled. I think amongst the people who know the meaning of hustling, I'm one of them. I didn't get job like that, so it took some time. And the first opportunity, of course, I got was as an intern, and I was just holding fort for a lady who had gone for a maternity leave in some printing company in industrial area. Yeah, and it was for around 3 months, and I was being paid 4,500. So it was kind of volunteer work, because if you calculate, your transport costs and all that. So after 3 months, hiyo ikaisha hivyo. Then the next thing, I got a contract. It was for stores in Mombasa. So I've worked in Mombasa in some shipping company for contract. It was for 6 months or so. I did that. Then after that, I stayed almost 2 years without job. The story that Sam has told you is that we used to, immediately after we left here, we went, I don't know how many of you know industrial area. Sam just told you we walked. You need to understand the kind of walking we did. So we thank God. I thank God, because that day, it was in July. I remember the month very well. And it was, in July, at least it's a bit cloudy, so it was not that hot. So for those of you, or for those of us who know Nairobi, we started dropping our CV from industrial area at Ken Poly Industry. So we dropped our CV from there. All the companies up to House of Manji, tuko pamoja. Then House of Manji, there's GSK, the GlaxoSmithKline company, the pharmaceutical. Go up to Enterprise Road, tunatembea. Then if that was not enough, Enterprise Road connect all the way all the way to GM, General Motors, walking. And you know where we started our walking? From Donholm. We didn't end our journey there. We were dropping CVs. We took a stretch from GM up to Nice and Lovely. It's currently called L'Oreal. That was the last place we dropped our CV. And then we walked back. You see, now it is the other side of the road. We walked from L'Oreal, then it was Nice and Lovely, all the way to Cabanas. So we dropped, our last CV was at Ramtoms. So at Cabanas, that's where we picked a matatu to town. Now, I I was the loaded one. I was broke, but I was the one who had some few chums because I used to stay with my sister. So my sister did a lot of funding. The working that day, I thank God for my sister. She's a very good friend with Sam. And in town, that's where Sam felt the English. Because from him, he had not taken breakfast. At least for me, I was sorted. I had someone who I used to stay with someone and I could eat. Food was not an issue. Then in town, we dropped our CVs at all banks that are in that town, inside town, within CBD, and insurance firm. The English, I want to remind Sam, the English is referring to, he felt we were at Consolidated Bank, along, is it Koinange Street? Yes, somewhere there. That English came when you were there. And I remember that I had to leave him at a watchman's place. And Kamba madam ameenda kwa HR, sijui alikuwa 8th floor or something. And then we were discouraged. Because this time you are doing all this. First of all, I served as the vice chairperson in this campus. You are the one who used to encourage people here about God. Out there people asking, and where's your God, Helen? Are you sure you did not wrong God somewhere? So I remember a year later, the government, the judiciary, recruited a lot of procurement people. And during our year, because one thing you don't know, that our year we were very few people. We were around 200 and something. And my class, we were only 28 guys in procurement. So of course, we expected, because now the judiciary has officially announced procurement offices as at the first time in Kenya, we'll all be, employed. Guess who was left? Helen. So Macau, who happens also to be our friend, next time we'll tag Macau. I remember I went to Macau. He had a printing place. You know those guys for cyber and all that? I went to Macau. I was so frustrated and I told Macau. Because Macau literally had ventured into business. So he was not more like us, focusing on professionalism and, being employed. I asked him a question. Macau, I want you, because you print CVs for so many guys. I just want to compare CVs of Flani and Flani and Flani and Flani, because it was, all of us used to meet at Macau's. I just want to compare, because I do not understand. Something could be wrong with my CV. And we checked. And I remember one day Macau laughing and telling me, do you know, Helen, people come to edit your CV. Your CV is the best. People come to edit and send. I'm like, oh God, but how comes I'm not getting? If people even are using my template. But I didn't give up. So what happened is, after Mombasa, let me just take you back a bit. When we came to this campus, you see, for us, our intake, we had to start in main campus because this site was not ready. So our second year, we came in here, and I realized something. And that is something I want to encourage you guys. When we came here, because, from main campus, there's all the luxury you have. I realized there are no pillows. So I supplied pillows in this campus. For a year later, I really did good business. For those, not those high-end, not fiber pillows, the kawaida pillows. And I used to buy them at Githurai. Zinawekwa na magunia chania, zinakuja Voi, I pick them. So while you're seated here, don't just stay here and saying the way you do not have money. So find yourself, do something. I sold pillow. And it didn't end there. Even after I left, I did a number of years, and then a few, of course, policies came in and all that. But I thank God for that period. And also, after that, you see, when one door closes, another one opens. I sold stationery in this city. I have done interiors for hotels in Kilimani, Nairobi. While I was still, you see, don't just stay idle just because there is no job. You've not got an official job in a company. Find something to do, So I started interior. I know how to make those very nice cushions. I know. I trained myself. I learned through YouTube. I went to some lady who used to make for me so I could stay there and learn. So that was part of my journey. But here's the story. All this period, you feel frustrated, you are discouraged, you are disappointed. Everyone is asking question, what is wrong with this one? You know, but I came to learn it's part of the process. It's part of the process. And let me add this. When your destiny is great, the sacrifice you pay is great. So, as they say, an elephant, the story about an elephant and a what? And a rat. That a rat, after every week, it gives birth. But you see, an elephant will labor for almost, I don't know, the gestation period is how many months? Sorry? 18. But when a small, I don't know, a baby elephant, how it's called, but when a baby elephant is born, the whole of the jungle notices that a baby elephant has been born. So I just want to encourage someone here. It might take long, but let me tell you, when God comes, he comes big. When he wants to come big, he comes late, trust me. So how did I start my journey? Then one day, I received a call from for an internship opportunity. And I go attend this interview. First of all, it was a telecommunication company. 2, it was a role for projects. I have done procurement. You know? IT, watu nilikuwa naona huku Taita. Projects, we don't have projects around here. But you know what? I presented myself so well. I sold myself out. I negotiated myself. And you know what? I was given the job. So this is an internship. So now I'm doing a project's work in an IT firm. So I'm doing IT projects. But did I do IT? No. Did I do projects? No. But I said yes to it. And I started my journey. 3 months. They renewed my contract. They extended 3 months. Hey, they saw this lady is performing. And you know what? I was given, that's how I got employed as a permanent contract. And I grew all along. But this is what I want to tell you. When I accepted the internship the first time, I was tired. So I was just looking for something. This one is, they were paying me some good money. And it is a start off. But the first 3 months, I realized I love what I'm doing. I want this. So the second term, actually, literally what I did, I started showing interest. So I would tag along with the engineers when they are going to site to do some deployment of some solutions. I would tag along with them. And you know what? Even at the time I would tell them, Fulani, I would know Nani is an expert in this. I would tell them after 5, could you just extend like 30 minutes or 1 hour? I want you to teach me something. So each and every week, that's how I learned IT. People think I'm a pro. But you know what? I stayed, I had an open mind, and because I wanted to learn. So after 5, I was not rushing home. By the end of the day, where are you going? Nairobi is full of traffic. So I would just sit down with someone and tell them, I would like on Wednesday, we do 30 minutes, you teach me what you do. This configuration of routers, these networks, these systems, all these things you do. And through that, I realized I'm learning. Then even when I got the job, I didn't just stay there wondering now I am comfortable. No, that's how I went ahead. I did my certification. I'm a certified project management. I did those courses. I did PMP, I did Prince 2. So as I stand here, I'm a certified project management profession. And also, for the IT and the works we used to do, the Cisco's, all this FortiGate stuff, I would attend webinars and learn. It doesn't harm. Don't just say, I did not get something of my choice. But one thing I want to let you know is my procurement is not dead. Because I learned that while we were doing the projects in IT, we could work very closely with the procurement people. So what would I do? At times I would jump in and help them in negotiation with supplier selections and something and evaluations. Because now that was my, I'm a pro in that. So I would help them. So while they are buying these IT equipments to implement in a project, I would assist also the procurement team in just negotiating pricing. I may not be in a position to recommend the technical specification for a particular thing, but when it came to negotiation of pricing, evaluating these guys, just going through their documents, I could help them. So by the end of the day, my procurement did not just die like that. And I have grew all through the journey in this telecommunication company. The other thing I want to tell you is when you are starting your job, I know that all you think is money, but have a goal. Everyone here, one thing I could hear when my brother and sisters were sharing is papers. I'm not discouraging you to study. Study hard. I have done my 2 masters in procurement. I've done one in project management, and I'm doing my PhD in leadership and governance at Berlin, Germany. So what am I trying to tell you? Don't stop learning, but also sharpen your soft skills. So this is what I did. This is how promotions come in organizations. You know those extracurricular things in our farm that we feel that we are not hired to do? Focus on those ones. Because my growth at this telecommunication company came when I started to take lead in events. For example, they would have IT events, and I would say, I want to cheer. And I would cheer that planning team. And I would coordinate staff, and I'd ensure that the event is successful. I started there. Then I noticed we have an issue on how we solve problems within the office. I reached out to my manager and I was like, you know what? I read books. I read a lot. And I told him, there is a book I read and I would like to share the book with people. So one time I was given an opportunity to share in a staff meeting, and I took people through how to just solve difficult situations. So, let me tell you, promotions don't just come because you are working hard. Let your work be noticeable. Be part of the people who are solving problems in the areas that you are. When everyone is saying this one is not enough, when everyone is saying this and that, be picking those points. Look for solution and go to your leaders and project them. That's how you grow in industries. And that's how I got to grow. I got to where I am today. And and of course, as they say that your work speaks. And I worked for that organization for around 8 years. And in September, I work in another organization. I'm in a new organization. And let me tell you, in this new organization, I was looked for. When you start your career, you need to get to a level whereby you don't just send CVs. You sell yourself, be good at what you do, be excellent until the market starts coming for you. When people, I just want to share something. When people were complaining about COVID, 3 people are looking to employ me. We're looking for where is this madam? We want to have you in our company. So never be lied. But be good at what you do. And with that story, I hope I have encouraged someone. And I would like to share a few things that I've learned in my journey in regards to this story. And one of them is don't resist change. Change is good. I'll start there. Be very flexible. As I've shared, I have a background of procurement, but here I am doing projects. Now I'm in IT industry again, not really telecommunication, but just an aspect of an IT industry. And, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So don't resist change. Sometimes just because something worked for you before does not mean that if something else comes and that's where you are supposed to be, you resist it. Changes are opportunity for you to grow. So when change comes, don't be rigid. Don't be stuck. Embrace change. They come to expose you. Because if today I had sat down and said, because there are no procurement jobs coming, what would have happened? Maybe I wouldn't be where I am today. But I thank God I didn't resist change. I was able to embrace change. So in each and every stage of your life, learn to embrace change. The second thing that I've come to learn that is normally our problem is we misinterpret adversities. Now, when we were dropping CVs with Sam, all that route, no fare, all walking, and wondering, God, where are you? Guys are getting jobs with the judiciary, you know? And all this, everyone, you know, is doing so well. You know, you might feel discouraged and all that. But do you know, adversities come to, you know, build up your capacity, build up your competence, and even character. So while you are tamarking, what is it that you're supposed to be learning then? So don't misinterpret adversities when they come your way. Try as much as possible to learn from it. Probably the job has not come because your character needs to be developed. Probably the job has not come because there are some skills and competence and capacity that God is doing. Because I will tell you, the internship I got, this telecommunication, actually it is MTN. It is a multinational. As you know, MTN is in over 24 countries. So now I understood why God had to prepare me for this. So at times, don't always misinterpret adversaries. The third thing I would like to share with you is don't monetize everything. You see, most of the time, even we can't volunteer ourselves. All we need is money. We think when we get out here, our first salary will be 100,000, 80,000. You know, if someone comes and tells you, shikilia hapa, you cannot. So my encouragement to you, start volunteering. Because I will tell you, you know those small things I volunteered while working for this telecommunication company? They pushed my growth. I started traveling out of this country, all these African nations, because of that thing that I volunteered for. So don't normalize to monetize everything, especially when you are starting up, because people need to know you. You are building up your brand. And at times, building up your brand is very costly. You might be doing so much, but there's no money coming in. But a time is coming when you are very consistent that this money will be back. So my encouragement is don't monetize everything. The other thing I would like to tell us is that it's very important to have an accountability partner in your life. You know, some men talked about mentors. You can have a mentor, you can have a coach. It's very important for you to have an accountability partner in your life. You see, it does not mean that you are not a responsible human being, no. But at times you need someone who will point out things. You know, at times you get comfortable at some things. But when you have an accountability partner, they'll be able to push you to do more. They'll be able to push you. You know those things you keep saying you will do? They'll push you to do it. So even at your age, or even as young as you think you are, embrace an accountability partner. The other thing is that limits people, I call it practiced indifference. Do you know what practice indifference is? So, practice indifference, it's whereby you feel you are restricted. Just because you did something, it failed, it did not work out. The next thing you did this one, things went south. The results you got is not per your expectations. So, practiced indifference makes you to be limited in your thinking capacity. So, it makes you look at a small zone. Your vision is zoomed in a way that it's a bit blurred. And it is possible, especially when you've done all that you've done here, and then you get out here and the market is not responding according to how you thought it would be, or you start a business, it fails. You are looking for a job, no one is calling you. It's very easy for you to feel like you are a failure. And you know what? Practiced indifference comes in. And you know, it limits your thoughts. So be very wary of practiced indifference. The other thing I would like to talk to is about habitual mediocrity. What is habitual mediocrity? Most of us, if I just try to move around with this mic, you will give me very big visions that you have, right? Everyone has a very big vision. And that vision is very great. I've never had anyone who has a doomed vision. You'll always say, I see myself here. I see myself as this CEO. I want to be this governor. I want to be this president. You know, I want to be this kind of a husband, a wife, a mother, and all that. I want to be a business mogul. I want to be a captain of industry. I want to be leading teams and all that. I want to be, you be the best. That's our vision. But now, here's the thing. Habitual mediocrity comes in when you are just speaking big, but you have not granulated that vision on how you are going to achieve it. You need to have systems. You need to have systems in place on how am I going to reach here. Now that I want, for example, I just want someone to tell me what they want to become. A vision. I know all of you have vision. Someone just volunteer. I know you are taking sodas. Who will volunteer? I just want one of you to share their vision. What you want to become, or whatever. It's okay. Anyone? We will not judge. We just want you to use your case as a sample study. Anyone? Or should I point out someone? You better smile, because if you're not smiling, I'm the one pointing. Oh, yes, my brother in, okay. Yes.
Can I stand or?
Give him some volume.
Yes. I can just sit.
Yes, that's okay.
My name is Wakoa Donicio. Professionally, I'm studying B.Ed as a maths chemistry teacher. But my ambition and vision is that in future, if God give me life and I prosper well, I would like to be a lecturer in abstract mathematics. Thank you.
Wow. You look like a serious, you look like a governor, in some county. That's a good vision. You want to be a lecturer, in mathematics. Wow. Some wonder you have a friend up there. So now, remind me your name, please. Yes?
My name is Wakoa Donicio. Wakoa Donicio.
Let me use Donicio.
Yeah.
If I pronounce the other name, I might kill it. Okay. So, Donicio. Okay. So, now you want to be, just stay with the mic. Just stay with the mic. So now you want to be a lecturer. So what are these systems that probably you might or are thinking of setting in place towards becoming that lecturer?
It's okay. After I'm done with my B.Ed, I'll be looking forward to maybe go for higher education, for masters. Then after there, God willing, I'll be doing my doctorate. But all of these, if God give me life and all those resources that can lead me there up to the ladder, then I'll be able to climb up to the up. Thank you.
Okay. Are there some of the disciplines that you'll need for you to become? I know you have said you go do the masters and the doctorate and all that, but are some values that you need to engage that will keep monitoring? For example, would you mind having like an accountability partner just to monitor your growth? Having someone you work with someone, probably a coach or a mentor. Have you considered that?
Yes.
Okay. So now what happens with us is I was talking about habitual mediocrity. So habitual mediocrity basically is we have vision, but we don't have systems in place. So most of the time you'll find that we are all in this campus. We have this great vision about ourselves, but we don't know how to implement it. We don't know how to break it down. So our vision is useless if you've not broken down and setting up systems and structures that will help you achieve that. I just want to give you an example of myself. For example, I realized I'm very passionate about leadership. And how did I realize that I'm passionate about leadership? From the books I read, I would go to streets. You see the way ladies go through to the streets and they buy shoes. That's how I buy books. Books call me from afar. So I go to street, I spend a lot of money on books. So I avoid bookshops, you know. And one day a friend of mine came to my house and told me, "Hey Helen, you love leadership." I'm like, "No." And then what did I learn? I realized this guy told me, it cannot be by coincidence that all these books are about leadership. Do something about it. And I realized, wow. So what did I do? I started growing myself in leadership. I started selling myself as a leader even in my workplace. How I could do my jobs. I did not just carry bad attitude out there, but I was always on the forefront to look for solution, no matter how the situation is. I wouldn't care what you think about me. I was more on how are we going to help this issue to be resolved. So with that, you don't just sit there and say you become a leader. I had to set up a system and structure. So what did I do? I realized, I asked myself as Helen, what kind of a leader do you want to become? And when I came to my understanding, I want to lead organizations. I want to lead people. I want to mentor young people and all that. So what did I do? The next step is, I actually did a certification from Said Business School, which is a campus of Oxford University, on strategic leadership. I have strategic leadership. I did that. And aside that, what also did I do? I have engaged myself with I have a coach. I personally have a coach who I am working with, who is working with me in raising my leadership skills. I read a lot. I listen to podcasts. It's all about what you feed yourself. So I would go to YouTube. You'd find me on YouTube. I listen to leadership stuff. So I'm feeding myself because I don't just want to become a mediocre leader. I am a change agent. That's how I look at myself. I am a change agent. So for you to become a change agent, I need also to feed myself, not only with knowledge, but understand how I will interpret this knowledge and this understanding that it benefits and brings, change in organizations. So those are some of the systems that personally have put in place. And now that I'm doing my PhD in leadership and governance, because I love policies. When I look at news, I see here, this is a policy problem. I don't look at the politician and call them names. For me, I analyze. That's why I don't like watching news a lot, because I do a lot of factual and research. I dig into stuff. What could be the issue here? That's how I look at, that's how I think when I watch news. So the other thing is, I would say, is low superpower leverage. Now, here is it's a major problem. Most of us, we love, looking at our strengths. We'll always sharpen our strengths. And we've admitted that our weaknesses are weaknesses and there's nothing we can do about it. And you'll hear someone confidently saying, that is my weakness. Where I come from, this is how we do things. So we focus on strengthening our strengths, but no one gives an interest on their weaknesses. One thing I want you to understand is there's no one who is perfect, but there's something you can do with your weakness for it to be epic. For example, if you have a problem with communication skills, you can't just say, no, my weakness is communication. My good friend Abby, as Nigerians will put it, you will not grow. You can't say, no, I am an introvert. I don't talk. Who said you have to talk? But there's a way you can benchmark yourself in that organization and grow. You can say, my problem is because I talk too much. How about we use that sanguine of yours into something productive. Don't just accept yourself because this is a weakness, you stop it at that. Do something about it. When you get to employment, growth does not come. You'll come say, oh, we are going to sponsor. No. Sell yourself. Build your brand. People buy brands. You see the way you go to a supermarket and buy Omo? That is the same way. People buy brands. I used to hear people say they don't apply for jobs they are called for. I'm like, hey, God, help me, I reach there. But I realize there's a lot of work they put in place. There's a lot of work they put in place. So as you desire to go out there and build your career, this enemy of low superpower leverage, of ignoring your weakness, be very observant, because it might limit your growth in your career, even in business. You know, these things apply generally to everyone. Then another thing is being over emotional. You can't control. You need to have some self-control. Because when you go to employment, you see here you can talk. You'll meet some bosses, and not all bosses are good. Even in the marketplace, you'll meet some clients, and they're not all good. But you can't be reacting to everything. How do you control that? It is a matter of soft skills. You don't say, me, I'm hot-tempered. What is hot-tempered? How will you lead an organization? You want to become a CEO. How will you manage things? You can't be throwing things everywhere just because people are messed up. You need to compose yourself. So that art, it's a skill that you need to learn. And it is sellable out there. Let me tell you, no one is interested with people who just only shout. And I just want to give you a homework. I want you to study great leaders. And I'll give you an example. If you go in Rwanda, Kagame, see what Kagame is doing. Kagame is always subtle, but he's doing great things. Look at the current president of Zambia. I call him HH because the name is another. I don't want to kill it. The guy within 1 year, he transformed the economy. He's not loud. So what am I trying to tell you? And there are so many people, you know, even here in this campus, you can mention so many people. And they make moves. So don't over-emotionalize everything. Young ladies, where are my ladies? Say hello. Don't say that you can't control your emotions. You'll stick to one place. So, learn emotional intelligence. It's very important. You will not be taught in school, but take it as a task. There's a book I would recommend, Emotional Intelligence. Go and read it. Go and read it. You can find it online for those who love reading, or buy on a bookshop, or just go on YouTube and you'll see, you'll come across it. Then the other thing is something I've called possibility blindness. I'm just trying to share a few things that limit us out here. Because it's one thing to get a job, and it's another thing to grow in it. So possibility blindness, it's the inability for you to see what you can beyond what is now. Your inability to see what you can be because of what is happening now. So, like what Sam has shared, our tarmacking did not stop him. Trust me. If he had given up, he couldn't be where he is today. But because he was able to allow himself to see far. So don't get demoralized. It doesn't matter what people say. Please keep walking. I remember when I started my internship at this organization, and because it's a multinational and a corporate, everyone kept saying, yule kale kasichana kadogo kamekuja pale, hata ka. Because these were people who were in that company for over 8 years. But I can tell you, zilikuwa zinaingia hapa zikitoka hapa. The problem is when you start internalizing everything people say, you will never grow. So you just know where your focus is, stick to it, grow. And as I finish, because I'm done, I would say something that I call worshiping safety. Now, worshiping safety. you know, that idea you have in your mind, you know, like for my brother there, the vision he has for being a lecturer and all that. And then all of a sudden, he encounters some blockages along the way, you know, and fear gets in him. Or he thinks, no, it can never happen because it is too late. Some bit of some story, I've heard it today. I've known him for the 11 years. I've heard it. But you see what? It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter the challenges that you went through. But he is where he is because he knew what he wanted and he was persistent. So, worshiping safety. This is what I call it. Have you ever started something and then you wonder, will it prosper? You decide, even before you've started, you've killed it. Oh, what if it fails? What if it doesn't work? But then, how about we change our tone? What if it works? Now that I have gone to TTUC, my friends are at JQuat and all this, the big 7. Oh, in that bush, who will know me? What if you become the best? I want to encourage you. We came from here. And we are leading in the marketplace. So it's not about the campus. It's about you as a person. You as an individual. And I'll just finish with this. I love this phrase. It's my phrase. And this is how I put it. You can write it down. Be very keen when you are called for a conference call with Miss Fearful, Mr. Rational. Just a minute. Where has it gone? And elder, what would people say? Can I repeat that again? Be very careful when you have called in a conference call with Miss Fearful, Mr. Rational, and elder, what people say. Have you understood? Or should I elaborate it a bit? You see that thing of you want to do something, you can't do it. What will people say? That is an elder. I call him elder, what people will say. You see, when you want to start something and then there is so much fear in you, what if it fails? I call that thing Miss Fearful. And then this other one for where I come from. My father's name is not known. Everyone who gets there needs to have a sponsor. You have to know who and who. I call that Mr. Rational. So always kill this person, these 3 people, every day when you wake up. Because they also limit you in all dimensions of your life. And I'll finish by giving you a small story. When we came here, this place was not the way. I remember even these things were done later. This was a wall. You know the way you do the kawaida cement plastering? And it was not looking all this beautiful. Trust me. I remember one day we were around 5 people and went to the then Vice Chancellor's office, Professor Hamadi Mboga, somewhere there in some office. We were very few of us then. And you know, we went there with so many questions. We were like, are you sure this is going to be a campus? Why did you people get us out of JQuat and come here? This place looks miserable. There were no social amenities. And you know what Professor Hamadi Mboga did? He went to one of his drawers and took out a design. It was an actual design of this school. So I have it in mind. And he placed it on the table and he took us through. He said there is a future for this campus. Here we shall build these social amenities. Here we shall have this. He got to a place, he said, even here is a place allocated for the graduation square. I was like, people shall graduate. The way this place looks, like it's all over. There's nothing. And you know that time he's pointing us, there were bushes and scrubs. So we were told here we shall have this. And then he got to a point whereby he showed us a place whereby there was a swimming pool. I was like, and we have water issues. You know, then it was in a paper. And you say the way the sports will be hosted here, the sports facilities will be at this area. And you know, we couldn't understand, what is this man talking? Because you know, it is in a paper, someone is presenting. But in the real sense, it is a forest. There was nothing. Nothing. But today when I came in, whatever I saw in that paper, I have seen it physically. And I know that template is there. So you can go there and visit the current one and request him. Probably I believe it's there. You realize there is more. That was how many years ago? 11 years ago. I see you have a graduation square. I've seen you have very many amenities. You know, I was telling Grace, even you have a very good basketball pitch. Then it was dust. You know. Sorry, I have some. Sorry, I'm battling some sore throat. So let me finish by saying this. That seasons are signposts. When I was coming here, that's what was so strongly on my mind. That seasons are signposts. And our life are made of seasons. So all this you see here today, it wasn't there, but it's there. So no matter which season you are in today, wherever you are, don't see it as a blueprint. It is a signpost leading you somewhere. When we were here 11 years ago, and we saw that blueprint of that architect design, in our minds we didn't see the possibility that all these things will turn. But today, there is a graduation square. Today, all these places are carpeted. Today, you have even the Alumni Secretariat office. I saw it in a paper. And I can tell you, don't give up. That paper had a lot. As the dean said, this is a home of ideas. So, don't feel ashamed to be here. Keep pressing on. Stretch your bit. After your 4 years, when you go out there, you will become a signpost. Just as us, we are. And we are back here to encourage you. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. We can do better than that. Let's give a good... Asante sana. That was so nice. I was trying to summarize, and I got lost on the way because of the interesting story. So I think that we still have chairs here for those that are coming in, those that are standing behind. We still have a lot of chairs here. I'll give you a minute just to make yourself honorable enough. We still have a lot of chairs here. Thank you. Asante. Thank you very much. For those that are joining us, we have been here for more than an hour now. This is the last speaker that was speaking to us. This has been brought to you courtesy of the Alumni Association. And the session that we're heading to now is the question and answer session. We've had 3 speakers that have spoken to us. We started by having Jacqueline Kihara, who spoke to us. Her field is mainly on agriculture. Then we had Dr. Sam Mwenda who spoke to us. He's a statistician with Kenya Bureau of Statistics. And then the speaker who just left was Helen Nene, who has a background of bachelor of purchasing and supplies management. But she's told you of how she's been able to divert in doing project management. So now I just want us to take a few questions. We have at least 30 minutes to be here. I'm informed that you have an activity that is happening tonight, and you should be ready for a cultural activity. We don't want to interfere with that. So I want us to take at least 30 minutes of question and answer. These people that you are seeing here are very busy people, all right? But they've taken the time off to come and speak to us because they value you and they love you. So it will be quite interesting to hear from them. Any issues that you want clarified, any questions that you want answered, I think they're here to answer you. Maybe I can get somebody who will help us in giving out the microphone. So how do you want us to do it? We can pick the questions. I can pick maybe 3 questions. Then we get them answered. Then we pick another set of 3. We get them answered. Then we proceed. You can decide to have the question specific to a speaker, or you can have it general for either of the speakers to address. So, sawa. All right. The first question. The first question. The first question. Just put up your hand and I'll see it. Yes. Tusaidia na microphone pale juu. There's a gentleman in a nice yellow vest. Let's move with speed. Who else apart from him? You can just be putting up your hand, eh? Okay, fine. So, after George, after him, there's a gentleman in nice made hair. Yes. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My question goes direct to Dr. Helen. Helen, hello. Hope you are hearing my sound. So I'm happy for your motivation. I appreciate for your coming. And the questions that I have, I'm so surprised because whatever you pursued here in Taita Taveta University, according to my view, it's like it has never helped you in your life. And so if I may ask, what exactly do you, how do you exactly encourage us? Because some of us, I can say even for myself, when I came to this school, whatever I came to study maybe, I feel like it's not going to help me. I feel like I'm not happy about it. How do you encourage us? Because is it that it's not a must that whatever we are pursuing here can be whatever is going to help us in the future? Then my other question said that when you went for an internship, then you got an opportunity also to renew a contract and you started from there. But I'm surprised how you pop up, yani like ukaenda ukafanya masters mbili, sasa unafanya PhD. How exactly, how ulistuka aje ukafanya PhD? How? It's like ni kama jackpot, si ndio? How did you end up about it? Yeah. So tell us more about it because it's like I'm happy for it. I feel like it's me, but I don't know exactly. Yeah. Then another question. You are an alumni of this school at Taita University. How do you feel about this school in wherever you have gone to this far? Because as an alumni, how exactly do you feel like? Nani utatusaidia aje wanafunzi wenye tuko Taita Taveta University so that you can see your school progressing in a good manner?
Yeah, because the fact that you are, I can't imagine that is Taita Taveta University that took you to that place. Yeah, thank you.
All right, maybe just George a minute. Maybe for the interest of her, what course are you undertaking?
Sorry, I'm Gideon Ronai Bashu, Bachelor's of Degree in Education.
Degree in education. All right.
Adia.
Thank you. Asante. Next question.
I'm Emmanuel Otieno. This is a general question. When you get into the job market and you get employed, then you get an opportunity to work where you had not studied. Would you advise someone to pursue an extra course, let's say a certificate in that area you're doing that job, and stop and maybe change course in what you studied? Would you advise someone here to go for further studies in where you're employed other than continue searching for a job to the course you did in campus?
All right. Thank you. The last person, then after you, there's that gentleman whose hand has been. We can pick the first set, then we go to the second set. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Bahati. My question is general. How can we be in contact with you guys? And again, is any one of you willing to be maybe our mentors if someone approaches them at a personal level? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. The last question. Yeah.
Hello. I'm Derek, pursuing BBIT 3. My question is directly to Madam Helen or Dr. Helen. So I was asking, you have talked about accountability, having an accountability partner. So how does you choose your accountability partner? Then my second question is it advisable to pursue PhD or further education before you are employed after graduating with your degree?
Okay, fine. PhD after graduation. All right, thanks. Now, this is how we handle it. This is how we do it. I want to ask Helen to answer the specific questions that have been addressed to her. Then I will allow Sam and Jackie to handle the questions that are general. I don't know if you had noted the questions, or I remind you, you have the questions. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Let's pick the final one, then, okay.
Yeah, I'm Steven, pursuing Bachelor of Commerce. My question is simple.
Your microphone is not clear. Your name was?
Okay. I've said that I'm Steven, pursuing a Bachelor of Commerce in this school. Talking about the perception, the question goes to anyone, any of our alumni. What is the perception of this school in the interviews you go? We need to know more about, because I'm not sure if we are competent according to other universities, in accordance to other universities. Yeah, thank you. Sure.
All right, thank you so much, Asante. Helen, we start with you. Let's make it brief so that we can pick as many questions as possible.
So my brother Gideon, I feel you. Let me shake your hand from afar. Yeah, these are good questions. So your first question was more of how I've applied my degree. I don't know if you were here when I started. Actually, I started practicing procurement. I've done internship, I've done a contract on procurement, both in purchasing and logistic. Then I also share that even in projects, I've been involved in the procurement of stuff. And in general, I'm also an entrepreneur by aside. So I'm still using my business skills. What I would like to encourage you, my brother, is whatever skills you're given here, they are to equip you for life. So it's not basically for the job market. You can have the basic skill, like for education. You can use it just to raise other youth people in your area, you know, or even for your own children or for your work. So nothing goes to waste. That's what I want to encourage you. The skills here are to equip you all-rounded in your life. They are not, don't look at them specifically to the job market. You can apply them in your day-to-day life. So for me, I have applied my purchasing and supplies. The second question about funding for my academics, I would be very honest with you. The first one, the funding was from a SACCO. Not a SACCO, it was from a chama. A chama. So I used to take chamas. Yeah, I started investing early. So don't waste your money here. Don't waste yourself here. It was from chama loans. I did that. The second one, it was not hard because let me say, by God's grace, I had some good cash of money that I could just pay for my academics. For the PhD that I'm doing, actually it is a scholarship I had applied. I think that's clarified. Your third question was my take with how, as an alumni, the Taita Taveta. For me, 11 years ago, my brother, if you were here, we were yelling more than you. It was worse. Snakes all around, scorpions, moths, you know. The place was not carpeted. It was dusty. Like, for example, if you'd go down here, by the time you come up here, vumbi imefika huku. So I can tell you guys, you are privileged. For us, we used to yell. So when I look at this surrounding, there's very high, this campus has grown. Here from someone who was here as a pioneer. This campus has grown. And there's very high potential. And I will tell you, even when you look out there, there are so many great men and women who have rose ranks in businesses, who have been awarded all around from this campus. So there's a future for this campus. Don't feel discouraged. Actually, you're in the right place. You're not just looking, don't look for people because they have money. No, that's a wrong description. Choose someone whose beliefs, values, that, you know, their beliefs and values match what you want to be. Or even you trust in their beliefs. You've seen, they are not just kuongea, ni kuongea na kutenda. Look for people who they have values. Their values match with your values. Their belief system matches with your belief system. Look at what drives these men and women. Don't look at money. Money comes and go. But values never change. So when you're looking for an accountability partner, look for values, belief system in these people. The other question, which is the last one, was a question of pursuing further education after graduation. Yes, you can do it. It's possible. You see, our lives are not equal. Some, after graduation, they got into business. If you are called into this, let me just call it, because sometimes it's a calling. If you are called into this, go ahead. If you feel, and don't just do it because others are doing it. Know where you are going. And for my brother who had asked this question, I would like you to, I just want to pose a question to you. First of all, understand who you are and who you are not. What you are and what you are not. When you answer that question, you'll be able to know, is it the right time for me to further my studies? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. I want this microphone to remain there on the high table. Doctor, you can give a comment.
Yeah, thanks for the wonderful questions. Well, I don't know why they are all targeting Helen. Kwani, I didn't say anything. You guys, you're not... There are no ladies here who want to ask me a question so that I can feel, you know... Anyway, it's on a light note. So I just want to give a comment regarding this person who is asking about doing a PhD before finding a job. You realize, of course, the higher the education, the higher the stake. The higher the education, of course, the higher the stake. And you have a better opportunity of even doing better consultants. You see, as you advance in your education, you're more like setting yourself free from employment. You're targeting kind of doing more of consultancy, which really are paying good. I can tell you a secret for sure, which most of you don't know. But some of the best paid people in this country are consultants. I'll tell you that for free. And most of the consultants we know, they actually have a PhD. And I just want to give a case scenario, even of this good university. I could see universities supposed to attract research. I mean, they do research, which is supposed to attract funding. And today, one of your lecturers told me that they are only teaching 3 units in a semester. Just 3. And these 3 you can do actually within a month and you're done. And these 3 you can actually teach, like a whole, just a day, you're done with all your 3 units. That means you'll be working 4 days in a month. Then you have another 20-something days. 4 days, you work 4 days, remove how many days for church? Maybe another 4. So you have like another 20 to go do research. And you can only do good research if, of course, you have a PhD. People will trust you more. They'll trust you more if you actually have higher education. I think more than if you have this other low education. Now, I want to just add one point before I give to her to maybe add a point. Yesterday, I was, there's an organization, a firm I consult for. Well, I work for the government, but I also consult. So there's a firm I'm a consultant, a data consultant. So yesterday we were in a place called Wote, and we were preparing the CIDP. That's the County Integrated Development Program. It's the same thing with the strategic development or the strategic plan. So that is the version. That's a county version for the strategic plan. So they are planning on how they'll run the county for the next 5 years on various sectors. What various sectors are supposed to achieve. So I met one of the country directors for the USAID, and there's something he said which I wanted to say before I leave here. So if you live in Taita, Makueni, or Kitui, there's a project for you. If you are a bachelor's, especially if you can do monitoring and evaluation, just data collection and analysis. So please walk into the offices if you can do that. If you're in Taita, Kitui, or Makueni, walk into the offices. I think they have something for you. They have a small gig for you. I've only talked about those 3 counties because he's a county lead. He's a county lead for the 3 counties, and as a way of giving back to society, they're providing those gigs, and they'll also offer you a recommendation certificate once you complete that gig. So that is for those 3 counties, but it's important. Someone else was asking whether it's good to do masters in the area that you're studying, or you want to do masters in the different where you've been employed. Of course, you understand. This will depend on a lot of factors, because for example, if Helen is now working in the IT, but she can't go and do a master's in IT because she doesn't have a background in that. So, of course, you understand all these minimum requirements for you to be admitted to a given master's. But all in all, no matter what, eat first. That is a Luya proverb. So, I'm not telling you, no matter what, just progress. You'll find your way ahead there. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Okay.
And please... this guy is objecting
hello.
my points.
No, it's not objecting. It's not objecting.
Anyway, thank you.
Doc,
yes.
Daktari.
Yes.
There is one question which I think you have not tackled, but I would really like if you can tackle it. They have asked you, as an alumni of TTU, when you're outside there, how do you feel? And when you are presenting your papers, how do the employers feel about Taita Taveta University? Okay. It's like they're imagining some miracles, yeah, you understand?
Yeah, thank you. It's true. You have all those fears, and I think Helen had talked about that. And coming from such a place, you may not be very proud, having in mind that University of Nairobi or Jomo Kenyatta, they have better facilities than we have here. So there's that sense, you feel that you're not adequate. But for the benefit of doubt, I have told you I'm more proud of this university than any other university I've studied. I started by saying I've studied in 4 public universities. But if there is a university that I hold in high esteem and I'm proud of, is this university because of the foundations that they gave. I say again and again, my closing remarks were, unless the lions find their own historians, the history of the jungle will always glorify the hunter. And that's what we are saying. Unless Taita Taveta find their own historians, then the history of success will always glorify the big 7. Because they're the ones who will be like, these. Like, let me tell you, do you know why I went to study at the University of Nairobi? Because these guys, they have all this pride. They are saying, there are only 2 universities in Kenya. There's the University of Nairobi, and then we have others. So I said, I want to go and find out what these guys are really doing. But when I went there, I realized they are not offering even half of what is being offered here. And I'm just being honest. Brutal honest. Very, very honest. That in all the studies I've done, I think this place offered me the best skills, which I'm so, so proud of. And about the employers and the feeling about the certificates of Taita or another university, I want to tell you this for free. These days, not even about the certificate. These days, about what you can do. It's mostly about what you can do. Are you guys on social media? Have you seen that person from University of Nairobi who got a first class in electrical engineering? And he's lamenting. If it's the university, why is he lamenting? And yet we are seeing very nice products here. It's just like that not all of us can fit here, but you have very, very good examples. And I can tell you for free, people are shining out there from this great university. I wish you could be able to interact with some of them on social media, and they can tell you. They are really excelling. So it's not about the feeling of a tighter certificate. It's mostly what can you do. And then you have an advantage. Coming from a public university, you can advance your education. You can compete for scholarship like any other person. So that does not discriminate you against competing for scholarship. So basically, those are my contributions. You are as competitive as they are. In fact, I said you are better placed because already you have already been in a hardship area. There is this meme that is going around as I complete. That there is this guy who went to heaven, and the guy had so many sins. So the angel was checking his profile. So when he was checking his profile, it's like, the guy is not very good, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but he realized he has a PhD. So the angel told him, oh, okay, so you're already through hell, so you can just get to heaven. So now you guys, you have already been through hell, so I don't think there is anything that can prevent you from excelling outside there. Are we together?
All right.
Thank you. Any other question? You have something to say?
So I think I didn't give a small story, and I think it's time we shared this so that we leave every stone turned. So in 2014, after I finished my KCSE, of course I passed a very strong B+, then 69 points. Na tuko na zile peer pressure, I want to do medicine, I want to do actuarial science. Actuarial science was a big name by then. But by default, nikapata nimeitwa Taita Taveta University, Bachelor of Science in Horticulture. Mimi nikaambia mzae, no, my B+. Huko ni wapi? Horticulture ni nini? Horticulture was just, for those of us who did agriculture in high school, horticulture was just a name used to define It is the farming of vegetables, sijui nini, floriculture. Ilikuwa na 2 section hapo, floriculture, olericulture, and some other there. I'm coming from a prestigious high school. I was among the best in my high school. Alafu naenda wapi? TTU. And then those big sevens are just some few minutes from home. Nikamwambia mzai sasa, wewe cheki tafuta pesa. I want to go and do either clinical medicine or those whatever. To cut the long story short, nilikuja Taita Taveta University. This was the reporting place. Jua imewaka, and then tumeadmitiwa, alafu in the evening I'm called. Hi, are you Jacqueline? Yes, I am. You're supposed to assemble at the pale kwa block, because apparently this is not the place tunasomea. Sayo ushabukiwa room and you are like, okay, ni sawa tu, tutangangana. Tukaekwa kwa basi. Hurururu, somewhere in the forest. Very cold. Sayo, I was telling my colleagues, me sinaenda coast, very light beddings, to chiffon, to 3/4. Tunakuja pwani. We, tukaenda meandering. Tukamianda. Sasa somewhere tundani nikaona some light. I'm like, okay, ni town, the campus is supposed to be in town. If this is a place, ni sawa tu. From hapo sasa tukashika njia ya kupanda milima. By the time we were there, it was chilly. Haungeona mtu ako mbele yako. And the school where I'm supposed to spend my 4 years has buildings. Unaona venye extended families wanajenganga around. Alafu kuna twa kuingia huku unaenda kwa anko mkubwa, hapa unaenda kwa baba mdogo. That is the situation. And the rest is forest. I mean, si umekuja kufanya horticulture. This is the best environment. So, and we were few. Sasa tuko na ile tukachochana, tukasema guys, we are not in high school, and even some high schools are better than this. We deserve better. It is time for us to show what we can do. And we are striking. The likes of Akina Hamadi Boga, Sayo, who says our chairman was a gentleman called Saif. Sasa watoto wame strike. The only place you can get food is the mess. Ikifungwa, sijui ilikuwa inafungwa saa 2 or something, when it is closed, wewe unaenda hivyo. Mimi nikasema hata hii course, hey, my points are so high for this course. And I'm going to do an intercourse transfer. Mimi una makaratasi. Nikajaza, and the transfer was successful. That time I've done an intercourse transfer for Bachelor of Commerce. Nilikuja na nikajaribu kuattend class. Sasa hiyo sijui nilipata nyumba wapi na huku chini. Mess unaenda unapata chakula iliisha, so ninateremka huko chini kutafuta food. And by the time I am done with that hill, I'm sweaty, I am tired, and I'm also hungry, and I'm from lunch. Nikaenda kwa Dr. Tony nikamwambia, you know what? I want to go back to those hills. I am going back and I'm not relenting. So, the first point that I said is your attitude is what matters. Can you please adjust to the fact that there is a timeline? After 4 years, kama sasa ningekuwa naendelea kufanya hiyo mchezo, and my chairman of department, hata sasa anaweza kuambia, my results for first year are nothing compared to the rest of the years. Because I'm still in denial, niko kwa hii kichaka, na, there's nothing much you can do. For us, we are not very privileged. Maybe somebody else angeambia babake nataka kwenda kufanya clinical medicine na ambiwe you defer, let's do self-sponsored. But sasa utaenda kuambia nani unataka kufanya self-sponsored, and then the fee structure inatolewa, anakuambia nakupenda lakini tutasort hiyo maneno baadaye. You either go to where you have been admitted ama tu wachane nayo. So, long story short, I had to adjust. I had to come to terms with Taita Taveta kuna auditorium, kuna those facilities, but Ngerenyi hakuna, it's called. You cannot access Undanyi. Undanyi ukitaka kwenda, you be sure you're going to spend 500 shillings. And a comrade to spend 500 shillings on fare, tunaweza kubaliana wote saa zingine inakuanga ngumu. So, we spent the whole 4 years, but it was after a whole academic year of being in denial. But guys, when I set my mind right that this is it, and I have to beat all odds and shine from this forest. I shined because I came to the graduation square with a first class honors. And immediately I left Taita Taveta University. This is 2018 I'm talking about. So I want to, nataka kujibu ule jamaa ameuliza mambo ya certificate ya TTU and certificate ya UON. Dude, there's no such thing. There's no TTU in the job market. There's no JKUAT. And if you are keen, you'd notice that very, very many institutions have come up. Gone are the days when we used to go bragging that mimi nimesomea wapi. Gone are the days when we used to say my certificate reads from wherever. It is you that the market is looking for. And many people have been fired from those whatever institutions. People like us have risen. We are proud to say that tulisomea huko, and we are proud ambassadors from TTU. So usidanganywe na usikae kwa hiyo the third year guy, it's time you just scrap that off and focus to the end goal. So it is possible. These guys are, umesikia zile titles wanasema hapa? Ni kitu inaweza kupea uoga, because it is, the quality here is unmatched. You can imagine the volumes that in a class, like our class, we were just like about, even if around 12. So when the lecturer comes in, the quality of what he gives or she gives is quality that you cannot get in a class of over 200 or 500 people. So yes, you are in the right place. That you should not doubt. And we are excelling. Like our lot, karibu kila mtu ako na story ya kuambiana. And that is just horticulture, just something that is looked very uko. Wengine hata hatukuwa tunajua the lake of Grace. Grace, I'm surprised she was in a main campus. And we have done it, we are doing it, we are rising up the ranks. For example, this is just how many years from 2018 after I left this place, and now I'm already at a place that I can say, yes, I have done it. So, tuko sawa. Thank you.
Asante. I think we can pick another round of, thank you. Wapigeni makofi mazuri. I think we can pick another round of questions.
So the last round of questions.
Maybe we can get by show of hand how many questions are pressing, not a repetition of what has been asked. The pressing ones, because of interest of time.
1, 2.
Kuna zingine hapa mbele, sio kama umeziona.
Oh.
Hapa.
3, 4. Okay, so.
All right.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rahma Said. I'm currently finalizing my degree in IT. Thank you very much for the inspirations. My question is related to one of the audience speakers, and I'm posing this question to Dr. Helen. Having spoken of having lost superpower leverage, maybe what word of advice can you give to specifically girls with imposter syndrome coming from marginalized areas of the country? Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, this is Fidelia, directing the question to Dr. Sam. Now that he said that a person pursuing mathematics and computer science should prefer doing the project to the extra units given. Like maybe you should expound on that, like which effect did it give to you maybe? And another question, like for us, the MatComp group, we don't have an attachment. So we'll be leaving the school without skills from the attachment. Maybe you should give us the direction, like you show us your ways. Thank you.
Show us your ways.
I'm Tony Blair. I'm directing this question to Dr. Sam. I've learned you pursued MathsComp. So my question is, people have been telling us or advising us that MathsComp do not have career. So what can you answer about that? Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity, and to our Alumni Association. I have one question for everyone. So my question is, the current situation that we are experiencing as a university, it is so alarming, and bearing in mind we have the alumni wenye walimaliza mbele yetu, and especially from the school that I come from, that is the School of Agriculture. And it's so much unfortunate that I, being a third year, and of course a pioneer of the course, to date I don't have any first year behind me or a second year. And the course that my Madam Jacqueline was doing, ever since they graduated and the previous class after they left, to date, hiyo course haiko. So you can see how risky I am. I cannot even take an academic leave because I will have no other class to come and study with them. So you, as the association or proud people from TTU, does it mean that once we are done with it, we can do nothing about it, or there is a way you can chip in, especially for agriculture department that is diminishing each and every day? Thank you.
Hello. So my question goes to everyone. Though every one of you alumni is not a student. So I'm asking, since you left, either in the year you left as an alumni to this far, have you checked what is going on in Taita Taveta University? My other question is, how exactly are you going to help Taita Taveta University progress in whatever is doing in education? Because it's not that much after you left as an alumni. I think even you, how you feel, it's not that just to be called an alumni. This school needs your support more as an alumni. Because even as you can see, we have your alumni service. How can we have alumni service, yet the alumni doesn't give a good support to the university? So if I may ask, how exactly are you progressing in supporting Taita Taveta University as an alumni? Because the school needs you more. Also, though Madam Jacqueline, you have been asked, you did bachelor's in horticulture, and you felt like leaving the course, but I don't know the problem. You continued. So, so my question is, you have said that you are proud of being an alumni of Taita Taveta University. How sure are you that you are proud? Because the course that you did has died. How sure?
The last question. Question 9.
Okay. My question goes to all the alumni. In 2019, those who came here 2019 cohort, we were admitted like 1,300. Then for 2020 intake, they were admitted like 1,200. Then 2021 cohort, they were admitted like 600. 2022 cohort, they were admitted to 50. So I'm thinking like maybe the year we'll be living here, they will be admitting 20 students. So my question is, as alumni, how are you going to chip in so that we increase the population of Taita Taveta University? Thank you.
Any other question? We are winding up.
My name is Emmanuel Kimtai. As alumni of TTU, can you recommend your relatives to come and study in TTU?
The last question.
Yeah, I'm Dennis Sekeny, Education 4, Maths Chemistry. Now, my question to the alumni is, TTU has got a problem that's not known. Like, for example, I'm from Western, Busia County, but if you tell someone from Western, maybe you go to the bank, you want to pay the school fees. Unaambia, I'm from Taita Taveta University, wanakuambia, iko wapi? Let's try, which is the nearest town that we can trace. We get to know TTU. So, as the Alumni Association, what do you do to make this university well known all over the country? Like, for example, somebody doesn't know TTU. Like, unapata mtu ameletwa hapa, ilikuwa last option, ile last revision. Ndakajipata tu amepata TTU. Like, the alumni, you have to sell the university in which way for us to know that this university is existing. Thank you.
Okay.
We have one last question, Chair.
Okay, I'm Victor. So I wanted just to ask you guys that how do you market TTU? Because we've been told all through the memo that we should market the school. So how do you do it outside there?
All right. Okay, fine. I want us to be winding up because I'm told you have an event that is just supposed to be starting in. Allow me to quickly address the quick issues that have been addressed to the association. Then I will give the guest to finish up on the remaining issues that I will not have addressed. But of course, they'll be open also to contribute. Now, one of the questions is, let me start by this one that was clapped by the majority of the people. Will you recommend a relative to come to TTU? Yes, I will recommend a relative to come to TTU because I've been a student here. And for your information, I've also been enrolled I got a scholarship to pursue a master's degree. And I mean an MBA in Natural Resource Management. So if I'm coming back for a second master's degree, that means I can recommend anybody to come to this university. So yes, I will recommend, and we will recommend. Now, what the Alumni Association is doing for the students and the university, for those that were here when I started off this meeting today, I said and prepared us that the Alumni Association is rolling out the second bursary schemes in the next month, in the month of November. Very soon you'll be seeing posters on your notice boards on a request for applications for bursaries. The bursaries we're giving is for the needy students, all right? So those that feel are very needy, and I said here when we started that all of us are needy, but there are those that are more needy than others. So we'll be rolling out the second bursaries to the needy students. This is part of our support of the alumni to this university. Then second, what the alumni is doing, again, we have a registered endowment fund. An endowment fund, how we are planning to work on this is we're planning to bring all the alumni together, the Helens, the Dr. Sam, and the rest, to contribute to a fund that will help towards the development of the university. This has been done by the Alumni Association and the university management, and already an account has been opened towards the same. We are soon launching the endowment fund with the university. So through this endowment fund, we are going to contribute to the development of this university. We are planning on various networking forums, and this is one of the networking forums. Through this, you're going to meet the old students. They will share the experiences about how they went about when they were here and what they're doing. So it is through these forums that, again, you'll get a platform to learn what the market outside there holds. We are open for any contributions or any issues that you feel that the alumni can do in order to market and support the university. Yes, there's a challenge of the brand, the Taita Taveta University brand, that most of us do not want to be associated with. You hear of Taita Taveta University, and as somebody has said, you go to a bank in Western and you want to pay fees, and they ask you what is Taita Taveta University. I will challenge you that be a good ambassador of Taita Taveta University. Let us stop complaining about Taita Taveta University. Let us go out and sell Taita Taveta University as the best university. There are realities in this world that you have to accept. That there's no other university that you're going to. Your university is Taita Taveta University. So you have to do anything possible to make it a heaven for you. And if it has produced doctors that are speaking to you today, if it has produced the Helens and the likes, that means you can be the next Dr. Sam. You can be the next Helen. You can be the next person. So it is possible. Maybe the only issue that we need to work on is our branding, as our speakers have spoken to us. Brand yourself well. I have attended interviews with students and people that have graduated from other universities and have beaten them in the university, in those interviews. It is possible. Brand yourself. It breaks from the university to your individual person. So it can be done. Lakini mambo ya kujiangalia kwamba sisi tuko chini, sisi tunaonewa, tuko savo, let us move away from that and just believe that Taita Taveta University is the best university that we can attend. I want to allow the other speakers to contribute to any other issue that I could have left out. Helen?
Yeah, someone had asked me about how to handle imposter syndrome. Okay. So, who is that lady? Your name, please? Okay, fine. See me after this. But the first thing you need to do when you're dealing with imposter syndrome, because basically it's what people think you are or what people say you should be. So you need to start speaking to yourself as a person. So there's power of words. What do you call yourself? You know, there's power in words. So my sister, what I would tell you is the best way to handle imposter syndrome is start speaking positive to yourself. A study was done about a plant. So someone did, you see the way you just do a seed germination? And there were two pots. Then there was this one, and they were placed in the same environment. They were given the same elements that you'll need for a seed to germinate. And every morning, this person would speak to one. You grow, you die. And I guess we've all heard about that story, and it's true. So what happens? It's the plant that the person kept saying you will dry up, ended up drying. But the other one survived within the same condition and the same environment. So imposter syndrome will always be there. As you've said, I've mentioned about that. You need to deal with the issue of that, the low superpower leverage, but it has to start with you. No matter where you are, speak positive. I don't know if you are here when I mentioned, when I started an intern in this telecommunication company, people said I will not survive. But I didn't listen. I spoke things to myself. Speak positive to yourself. Every morning when you wake up, look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I am that person. There's power in words. 2, have a positive thinking, regardless of where you are. You know, challenges are there. You know, we have not really shared our story into details. We might look all this glory, but we might be coming from some village somewhere. So, speak. The other thing is, in this era of technology, you can access. Go to YouTube. Go to watch podcast. Use the Wi-Fi you have to build yourself. You see, most of the time we use the Wi-Fi to watch all these gossips. But the same Wi-Fi, let's say you save 15 minutes each day or 10 minutes of your time each day. You look for something that will build your mental capacity. You know, you can look for something about positive attitude. You be listening to it. 10 minutes in a day. You know? Or when even you're walking around here. You know, for example, like now, you've missed, if for example, you say you have to go all the way to the gate for your food. Take your earphones. What are you listening? You know? At times, not all times you watch gossip and who is trending, who is not, and who is entertaining. You can be also building yourself. So I will tell you one thing on how to, some of the ways that you overcome imposter syndrome is speak positive words, have positive thinking, then feed yourself. You are as good as what you feed, as what you watch, and as what you listen to. That's what I would tell you. You are as good as what you feed, as what you watch, and what you listen to, and even, you know, all those things. So what do you listen to? What do you watch? And what are you feeding yourself? Irregardless of the environment. So feed yourself. And then also I would encourage you, especially for the young girls, because from the marginalized area, always look up to someone. You might not be able to reach to that person today, but you will get there. I don't know if, you know, there's no time, but I'll just tell you, there's someone I admired when I was so young. I finally met the person in 2020 because I wanted to be like that woman and nothing would stop me. I went on YouTube, I watched everything, every talk, everything, and nothing limited me. From the village, I kept watching. So I will tell you, don't be limited. Be very keen on what you feed on, especially your mind, what you feed your mind, what you listen to, what you watch. And also be very careful with the company you keep. Make sure your circle is as small as, you know, as a fist. Surround your people with people who speak good. Surround your people with people who push you to do best. And try to eliminate these other guys. Thank you.
Asante. Very, very briefly, Sam.
Yeah, I want to respond very fast without wasting time because I see we have another event and the hall is full. So I want just very fast to talk about the issue of the project. Vis-a-vis the 2 units which you are told to substitute, and I was saying, please do a project, because when you do a project, then you are able to interact with the analysis softwares, which will be very important when it comes to the actual work or where you'll be hired. It's only through a project that you can learn how to analyze data, because I think a requirement of a project is that there is a chapter 4 on the data analysis. So you're able to analyze data with the available softwares, like the freely available like R and Python, and also the other commercial softwares like SPSS and Stata. Now, there is someone who was also asking about the issue of there is no attachment. So he's asking about our view. And my response is this. This world is made up of very many good people. If you can't find one, then be one. So if the program is not offering attachment, then go look for one. Just be aggressive. Now, there is someone else who was saying that they have been told there is a narrative that there are no employment opportunities for mathematicians, that's the maths and computer. I don't understand that language because I am here and so many others, and I think we are doing pretty well. So I think that's a bad narrative. And is it true? There are opportunities, and there are very, very many opportunities in that field. And I can tell you this for free. There's a saying that says that when alligator comes out of the water and tells you that the crocodile is sick, what do? Just believe the crocodile is sick. So I'm the alligator, I'm out of the water, and I can tell you MathComp is a fantastic cause. Now, how do we help in this progress? Then we kind of host people at our offices at KNBS. I think there was a team that was there. We met with some of you for math and computer. So for those field trip, if you come there, we're actually going to host you. Now, there's this issue of increase in population, which has really caught my attention. And the chair said, and I repeated again, that we need to be good ambassadors of these institutions to be able to attract other people. You know, the only way you can attract someone, if they go find something good, they can always come and talk about it. But there's one thing I want to just say in a blanket. I'm not trying to accuse anybody. But I follow the group, the TTU. There's a group in Facebook, and there's a usually very bad exchange among yourselves. And you go to display your dirty linen out there. You say these universities like this, it's like that. Do you think people will be encouraged to come and join in? Of course, no. So I think we need to avoid washing our dirty linen because we are in an era of big data and social media, and there's a lot of information that moves around. So if you put a bad image like that, then nobody will be interested even to apply for a course here. And unlike the previous years, for you to go to maybe a given university when you are qualified, you need to have applied to that university. So you'll find that we have fewer people applying to the university because maybe we have a bad image and washing our dirty linen outside there. Like right now, there is challenge of water. I mean, you can't go telling everybody you have challenges of water. We have challenges even in the highlands. We have hunger even in Nyeri. We have hunger in Meru, countries which you never heard of. But you don't go, displaying your dirty linen out there. So please don't fight your leaders, and also don't fight among yourselves. Let's make Taita a better place to be in. Maybe I can give you my email address. You can write to me if you want. I can give you my phone number also. My name is Ngugi Mwenda. If you want to know my third name, then send me M-Pesa. You are going to see a wonder, I'm telling you. So my email is geeglm2020@gmail.com. So for the mathematician, you understand, the G is the general estimating equations, generalized linear models. So it's geeglm2020@gmail.com. My number is 0726 015 044. Try my M-Pesa, I'll appreciate. Thank you.
Asante. Maybe just because of interest of time, let's just say something for a second.
Okay, I want to address the issue about the dying SAES, as we used to call it. It is very unfortunate, and as I was giving my story, I told you guys the reason as to why I was doing the intercourse transfer was not even because of the environment. Maybe if I had been admitted to Ngerenyi for the big causes, as we would think they are, I would be free to pursue medicine or any other course that is prestigious, in quotes, at the same place. So it is about the awareness. Are people aware that agriculture is among the best-selling dockets that we have? Do people know that agricultural courses are doing better than even business courses nowadays? Are you guys aware that farms, there's no day tutaishi bila chakula, and processing is happening every other day, production is being done every other day? So for me, it's a matter of awareness, and it comes back to the same thing. Be a brand ambassador of your course, be a brand ambassador of your university, And that is the only way we can grow Taita Taveta University. There's no need of me, I'm an alumni, doing very well from Taita Taveta University, and I start bad-mouthing TTU, whereas my success is, the foundation is from this place. And maybe to add on what Doc has said, that is what you guys are doing. You find somebody has been admitted to TTU by maybe default and comes to the wall at Facebook and asks what kind of university is this. And you being the member of TTU or a student here, ni nyinyi wa kwanza kuwapea review ya venye TTU ni kubaya, hakuna nini, there's not this and that. So guys, it's just about awareness, and maybe should talk to the department, do something. Let's be good people.
Okay, thank you so much. We have come to an end of our session. I just want to appreciate the ladies and gentlemen that have been key in making this event successful. I want to begin with the Secretariat, Holyfield. You can just wake up. Let's give a good clap for this. Good work done. With me here is George. George has done a good job in arranging this event. Let's give him a good hand clap for this.